I just wanted to hop in here at the beginning of the show to mention something that happens somewhat early on. So, in near the beginning, especially when we get to the etheric domains for demons here, Steve had some issues with his audio. He was kind of roboting him out and cutting in and out a little bit. So, it's a little bit choppy through that particular spot, and because I was pausing it when he was talking for some bits and all to try to get worked out. It only goes on for a few minutes, and then it's absolutely fine for the rest of the discussion. So, when we start getting to the units, we had no problems otherwise going forward. So you will catch that a little bit, but it'll only be a few minutes and then it'll be fine from then on out. Alright, now to the proper entry of the show. Sit back and relax while I listen to Train Kickers podcast. I'm Dave, and along with my co-hosts Dan and Steve, we're going to take you all around the world in miniature wargaming. On tonight's episode, which is actually, this will officially be our 100th episode. We might do something else at some point, but we never came up with anything great. And GW decided instead that what they should do for us is that to give us a document relating to the Demons of the Runestorm, what Dan has been waiting on for. They promised it how long ago? A year ago?
No, they promised it summer.
Okay. That last summer, not this summer.
No, this summer. They promised it this summer.
You sure about that?
Yes. 100%.
We've been playing Heresy more than just this summer.
They said the demons are coming last year around this time.
Oh, okay.
Around
and
summer.
Sat there.
And then they sat there, and then people started going, well, they didn't say this summer. And everyone was like, oh, no, please.
But what they decided to do was there was an event that they had this weekend, and Dan took some demons and made some 1.0 rules and kind of manhandled it all together. And now they drop us the 2.0 because they don't like him, and they wanted to make him wait that little bit extra. So for this...
They were worried. It's simple. They were worried that Dan's rules would take off and take over the world, and they wouldn't have anyone playing by their rules by the time they released them.
I got to admit, it is very trolly what they did.
Yes.
Because me and Grady were literally laughing.
They did this to you personally.
We were laughing, like, what would happen if, we finish this event, and then, like, on Tuesday, which is the normal, they just drop it. And I'd be like, no, come on, man. That's too on the nose of what might actually happen.
Good props there, Nostradamus.
It's just like...
But, so...
I mean, does have a nasty Night Lords list with Mr. Sevatar.
Yeah. So, with that all being said, so on this, what I guess is technically officially 100th episode, although we've put out like 150 things actually overall, including some things that I just put out today and a few other things I'm putting out. Depending on time of recording, might be tomorrow. From when you see it, it might actually be out the day before. But our goal then is we're going to go through the Demons of the Runestorm for Warhammer 30k, Horus Heresy. And now, on to the show. All right, gentlemen. In a 1 minute, how was your event? Because I didn't go. I was working.
It was fun as shit.
Don't put your hand in front of your mic.
Oh, yeah.
As
my mic is so weird.
As could predict. Loyalists lost.
Oh, yeah. Well, okay. For anyone who doesn't follow it that much, Loyalists don't win. Once. Like one time. I've seen it.
Not at our events.
No, one time they did. Like literally one time.
Yeah. Just once.
I think it was the most recent one before this last one. Yes. The one before the summer, I think.
Yeah.
That's the only one I've ever seen them win. So...
It was a close battle, though, this one around. This one was actually fairly close. True. So he totals all the points up, and I don't remember the final totals, but it was definitely within, like, 5 or 6 points.
So you're saying the Loyalists did better now that you're playing Demons and are on the other side and you're dragging them down? That's what I heard.
Yeah.
So.
Thank you, Dan, and your Demons for advancing the Loyalist cause.
Yeah, exactly.
I can only do so much.
Whether it's good or bad, we don't know.
Yeah. As always,
they're demons.
Grady runs a great event. Some gorgeous Zone Mortalis tables, and then some tables that I put together last minute because, oh shit, I need a table.
Yep.
Gorgeous armies, as always. We have such an incredibly talented community.
Now, for this particular event, didn't end up recording anything out of it because I wasn't there. I actually went and played some Shatterpoint instead, and just my wife was supposed to have an event and then rained out, so I wasn't sure if I'd be able to go, so I didn't sign up for it. And there are events you have to sign up for ahead of time, so I just did some other things. But we should have some other stuff, hopefully coming up somewhat soon, that we'll actually be recording out of, and especially related to 30k. And now that we have some Runestorm, we can do that as well. All right, so without much further ado, because I think this is going to take a while, because they don't have tons and tons of entries, but like the Aetheric Domains, there's quite a few, so I think we're going to take a bit for this. So we are going to start getting into these demons. Since it's been a bit, especially if you only really listen to us for 30k, it might have been a bit since we've done some of these. For the way we do this, we're going to go through this document piece by piece, discussing every little bit. Since this is freely released by GW, if you're watching on YouTube, I'll have it displayed up for you to see. If you're just listening, you can follow along with. We can't do it with the main books because GW doesn't send them to us and I don't want them getting angry. But we will be displaying this up, and we're going to start with Dan giving us a brief background on what these KSC boys are.
So what's really cool about this army is that demons during the heresy did not have names. There obviously was Khorne and Tzeentch and Slaanesh and all that, Nurgle.
Slaanesh?
And you could see, yes, isn't that
Slaanesh?
SL? No, isn't it double E at the end?
I've never heard it said that way. Is this like a Bad and Abaddon kind of weird British bullshit?
No, it's Slaneesh.
I've never heard it pronounced that way. I've never heard you pronounce it that way.
Well, I'd never say the word.
Wait,
now I'm confused.
I've only ever heard Slaanesh.
I'm confused.
It's double E. I'm not. Isn't that English?
Look at British English. Look at color. True. Color has like an E attached to the end and U's and stuff.
A, not double E.
No, it's
Tzeentch has double E.
The double E? Am I? Okay. All right. So what's really cool is you read the books, you could tell like there's a plague bearer, but they don't describe it as such because the Marines have no idea what they're facing. So what GW did originally in 1.0 was they created the Demon Army, Demons of the Ruinstorm, and it was very amorphous. They gave you basically base sizes, and they were like, here are the unit entries, here are some base sizes, go crazy. Because that's essentially what it was. The demons are essentially... there are the Bloodletters and Plague Bearers, but they're much more amorphous due to what's happening in the heresy, which is super, super cool. You know, like I see I think I posted on the heresy chat someone's demon army where he did like a mushroom monster, and it's like you could use trolls, you could use vampires, and it just because it's such a weird looking anyway. But that was the demons. The demons are essentially popping up because of all the crap that's going on with Horus. But they're kind of amorphous, I guess is the right word to use.
I think that works. And in their document, in the notes about it, designer's notes and all, they essentially say that, like, hey, now, they're not going to tell you realistically to use armies or use models that aren't GW. But they're like, hey, use what you want. We have a variety of demon-style miniatures. We got tons of stuff from 40k. You can use those things. Hey, like use some pink horrors and all. Hey, it's all cool. They also mentioned that, hey, rules-wise here, this army isn't meant for competitive play. Not that we do that really in Heresy, but you should be talking to your opponent when you do it. Or if you're going to be playing it, because essentially they're kind of saying, we can't guarantee these guys are going to be balanced in any way whatsoever. To me, that's the way I always read that from GW.
Which is wild, because they've been in playtest for the longest of everything so far.
Yeah. Let's go with that.
Sorry.
Hey, they at least show
sarcasm trips.
They at least show that magenta color that in the future you may get magentas when they change some things up. So maybe. Who knows?
Well, I'm hoping the biggest thing is that they had base sizes. That kind of helps a little bit.
So one thing we'll display this more later, but Dan and I will post this up. I've asked them to make one small change just to darken the letters, because for anyone who is maybe a little bit older, the colors aren't quite as contrasting as I would like, because I have a hard time seeing it immediately in the sort of text block. But he did put together a really neat looking document. If you're watching on the YouTube, I'll throw it up here. And for this document, this is for Demons of the Ruinstorm, it gives you what the unit is, the general base size for that unit, and a suggestion on the types of models that do fit those sizes. So this was based off of the old rules, I take it? You took the old base sizes? So
essentially, right, there were some units that were dropped, and there were some units that were added. Like, for example, the one in between Harbinger and Sovereign. Hierarch. The Hierarch, that didn't exist before, but it's essentially a demon prince. So, boom, take that as you will.
Like the old school one.
Yeah. Well, no, 60, because remember, some demon princes are 100 mils. So what I did was I said, all right, so you have your normal demon princes, which are 60 mils, but you have Be'lakor, that's 100 millimeter. Or you have the Forge World Demon Princes that they don't produce anymore, but those were around 80 mils. So it gives you variance, essentially, to what you can do.
Yeah. So we'll make sure this gets posted up in any spot that we can. It'll especially be on our Discord or anything like that. We'll put it on our Facebook and all, so that way people can access this. But that's enough of the background, because we'll never get through this otherwise. And we are now going to start taking a look at the Aetheric Dominion. So we're just going to go through this document in the order that GW has given us this document. We're not going to fancy it up in any particular way. They actually, maybe really briefly, I'll mention, they talk about allies here and all. And the big thing is no. That's really what it says.
Well, it makes sense. I mean,
yeah, you can have
the bound demons are bound.
Yes.
they're bound to the person that summons them. These are you ripped open a warp portal, bud. Sorry.
Yeah. They pretty much say, hey, you're not going to ally in. No one's going to really ally you in. Individuals can be, because esoterics and stuff like that can bring them in, but you're not allying a force. And then they talk about Gargantuan. When we get to Kabanda, we can mention that again, but it's the same thing from
It hasn't changed, by the way.
Yeah.
Gargantuans, yeah, exactly.
But they did change the Aetheric Dominions on us.
Yes, they did.
So for these show notes wise, I'm just going to put Aetheric Dominion. I'm not going to list them separate, but we will discuss them. And we're going to try to keep this part of the discussion a little bit shorter. We'll discuss it more once we get into it.
They're not that complicated.
No.
Because you can only choose one anyway.
Yes.
You have one detachment and you get one.
Yes.
Because you can't ally with yourself. So.
Yeah. They take a long time to say that. But at the end, they do just say, whatever you take, you may only ever have one.
To be fair, the first paragraph is all
The only
fluff.
exception to that is your Lord of War choice. Maybe
true.
Yes.
Yes, your Lord of War can be different, which
Yes.
is hilarious, by the way.
Well, it's also necessary because Kabanda is probably given his automatically.
Yes.
So if you want to take him, it would essentially force you into what you want to do.
Exactly.
And that doesn't fit good theme.
No.
But all right. Do you have a favorite one to talk about, Dan? This is sort of
Heedless
your
Slaughter.
thing. Huh?
Heedless Slaughter and Putrid Corruption are going to be my two favorites.
All right.
Honest, actually, I like
Bad
them
news. They're right next to each other.
I know, bad news.
Yep.
No, I'll do Heedless Slaughter because that's core. That's literally core. It's blood, literally blood flowed.
All right. I'm going to make
All right. Since you have the Death Guard army, Dave, I will start us off with the Encroaching Ruin.
Yeah.
All right. Any other lead-in we want to give, or let's get into it?
No, let's just get into it. There's a bunch of it. Let's go in.
Okay. So, Aetheric Dominion, what special rule will our whole army get? If you pick Encroaching Ruin, you will have units entirely composed of monsters with special rule, which should be all of them, and demon unit type, which should definitely be all of them. Whenever they fail a morale check, they will suffer one automatic move with no saves instead of D3, as specified by the demon unit type. In addition, they move through cover.
Oh shit, we should have specified what the demon type is.
Yeah, why don't you specify that now?
So that's easy. Demon is super easy. Demon, you get Fear 1. Anyone who's demon gets Fear 1, and Fear is 12 inches?
12-inch bubble, yes.
Okay, 12-inch bubble, Fear 1. Depending on the turn, you go +1 strength, so turn 1 and turn 2, you're +1 strength, +1 toughness. Turn 3, turn 4, your base. Turn 5, turn 6, you're -1 strength, -1 toughness. And turn 7, you're -2, if you get to turn 7. And then every time, so they change it. Every time you fail a morale check in combat, essentially what happens is instead of fleeing like you normally would, you just take a Perils of the Warp, which is D3 mortal or D3 wounds.
Yeah.
So this is what this changes.
You're almost
You're tethered to reality.
Yeah.
You're tethered to reality's
Ish.
breaking.
Yeah. You're almost fearless, but you take the damage instead. It's old fearless. If people played 6th or 7th edition 40k, it's the old fearless. You take damage instead.
I think even before then, I feel like that was 5th edition. They changed it.
5th edition you did. Maybe in 6th you did it. I know in 5th you did.
In 6th, they stopped the damage. Like, we can't have downsides to special rules. That doesn't make little Timmy happy. We only want good things. Unless you're Tyranids, then fuck you.
You know what's interesting that to think about? The Chthonian book, the new missions tend to go to turn 4.
They're 4 turns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just thinking
Which someone already made that point where it's like, oh, your demons don't ever then get modified. They go +1 to negative, or +1 to
back to standard. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Heedless Slaughter, Dan.
Heedless Slaughter, straight core. This is a long one, but it's actually kind of easy to talk about.
Yeah, you can just talk about it. Then you don't have to read through it.
Essentially,
it says.
I'm with that. Yeah, this one's summary. So essentially, you have to declare a charge in the assault phase if you are within 8 inches of an enemy unit. If there's more than one enemy unit within 8 inches, you can actually choose who you want to charge, but you still have to charge. But this doesn't break the shooting rule. So like if you can't like shoot something and then charge something else. That it doesn't break that at all. So you still have to shoot what you charge. And that's even if, by the way, let's say I shoot something 24 inches away, I can't charge something 8 inches away. It has to be the same unit. You can't. Basically, they did so you can't cheese it.
Yeah.
However, so that's the basic. You have to charge with an 8, which is kind of seems like a detriment. But on the side note, if you get a plus 120 charge rolls, right, which could be super big when we talk about some of the demons, you get plus 1 to the score, determine if they win the combat, which,
that's useful.
Useful, but the big one also is you get plus 120 rolls you made for sweep in advance. So if you win, because your initiatives are pretty much 4s across the board with some 3s. I mean, the leaders are 6s, obviously. So this does help. This gives you that extra bonus. So I like this a lot. This is court, essentially.
Yep. All right, so Putrid Corruption. We'll go through these a little bit quick because we have the bigger units, and we'll probably be discussing it more once we actually get into some of these units. For Putrid Corruption, any models that have it, they gain heavy, so they count as being heavy, and may make a special corrupted resilience roll to avoid being wounded. It's damage mitigation, so it's feel no pain-ish, that kind of idea. These rolls may not be taken against unsaved wounds that cause instant death, psychic focus, or force. That makes sense. Your special rules, your invulnerable save doesn't work in some of those conditions, so you get nothing here. To make it, you roll d6. It's on a 5-up. In essence, you have a 5-up feel no pain that instant death doesn't work on, which feel no pain wouldn't anyway. But psychic stuff to them / force is almost like that as well. So you just don't get it on those. So, all right. That puts Steve to Rapturous Sensation.
Slaanesh.
Oh, yes. Slaanesh. Don't start with you, Dan. All right. So, on a turn, which makes a successful charge, on the third, you get 1 extra initiative than normal. And you get to reroll failed initiative tests for blind and leadership for concussive.
They're Empress children now.
Yep.
They're Empress children.
Kind of, yeah. With some other perks.
What's the base initiative in general? Not talking about special people.
4, 3, 4, 5. 3s are the bigger dude, like the monsters. 4s are your baseline, essentially across the army. 5s and 6s are your leaders.
So, and we're going to see when we get into these guys, they either have decent AP or can get to it on certain rolls. So they're now going at or ahead of general people. They're maybe not always beating out special units, but they're not going later, which is big.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, yeah, Formless Distortion. This is another cool freaking roll. So basically, this only happens in the fight subphase. You roll a d3 for each unit composed entirely of models with a special rule. So fun fact, you can actually, it switches per unit. And it happens, I believe, at the each fight phase, right? It changes every time. Yep. So essentially, you roll a d3, and you get something for that unit. So if you roll a 1, you get Concussive 1 in Lance, which is really only good if you charge. Mm-hmm. You get, if you roll a 2, you get Lashing Pseudopod, which is Reach 1. I think that's a permanent +1 initiative, right? In close combat? That's not if you charge. It's just that's permanent +1 initiative, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, Reach is just +1 initiative.
And then if you roll the 3, if you roll the 5 or 6, that's Shred and Sunder. Super great. Shred's great. Because Shred, you can start fishing for those 6s that you need to kind of increase the AP or decrease the AP.
It's only failed wounds, right? You don't get to shoot.
Shred only lets you do fails, not any.
Wounds, but still fish. You can still kind of fish where it helps, essentially.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
But even concussive is great. All you have to do is, do you have to wound something in concussive, or is it just hit? I think it's you have to hit. Or let me see. Hold on. Where's my Excel sheet?
Yeah, you can check. I can't recall because pinning is blind you actually have to hurt them. I don't think concussive. I don't think you actually have to hurt them.
I know blind is hit, but
some of the rules switch back and forth between what's what.
Yeah, but concussive is because concussive, and it's concussive 1, so it lowers the weapon skill, which is great because most of your weapon skills, not shit, but it's kind of basic. I'll read you a second. Suffers 1 or more wounds.
Okay, so you actually do have to hurt them.
No, but wait. Oh. No, but regardless of whether those wounds are saved.
Okay, so you have to wound them but not actually. You have to make them take saves.
Exactly.
If they're trying to take saves, then it counts. You have to do more than just the pure hit. Yeah. You actually have to have successfully wounded. Okay. All right.
Pretty cool.
Infernal Tempest. So the next one. It talks about how it gives you Hammer Wrath 1. And if you already got Hammer Wrath, just get extra Hammer Wrath. And if you have a rule that causes Hammer Wrath when you have this, or a rule like that, then your attacks get Deflagrate. In addition, you get a special shooting attack. It's an Elemental Eruption. It's 8 inches, Strength Use, or AP 5, Assault 2, Deflagrate, and Retaliation. You can only use it as part of a reaction, and it automatically hits without needing to roll. So, is there much shooting in this army? I don't think so.
No.
So, if you have this, it's not bad at the end of the day because you're not going to be allowed to shoot anyway. So, your reactions, you might not be quite as concerned with. Hey, you get some autos in. That's not nothing bad with that.
Here's a stupid question. Okay, if I have 2 shooting weapons, can I shoot both?
No, you would need to have a rule that allows you to do that. You would need
it's like firing protocols, I believe.
Yeah, firing protocols. Yes, thank you. Okay, I literally was playing the other week explaining all that and the special names to the mind. Yeah, you can't shoot more unless you have a rule that allows you to shoot more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You do get to choose though. I believe then that takes us a bit to no, Steve.
Oh, Steve. That's right. Yes.
Yes. Assuming he's
all right.
Okay, there.
Infernal Tempest.
Yes.
Sorry.
No. Wait.
Ravenous
no, I did
Dissolution.
That one. Sorry. Ravenous Dissolution.
Oh, my bad. I lost connection for like.
No, I saw that. I saw your
did I miss something?
Creepy shrimps disappear.
I missed the whole thing apparently. Okay. And all right. So Ravenous Dissolution. So you're getting +1 hit roll in the first round of combat, which is always nice. If you're attacking things that are demon, corrupted, or psychic, or independent character. So there's some wiggle room in there. And if you charge if you're already locked in combat and you get charged, it's a new first round. This is the anti-demon one that everyone's always a fan of. Not because it's good, but because it's funny.
All right, we paused there for a moment because Steve was roboting out. We'll see how this goes from here.
You're a robot.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of this one just because there's those qualifiers. Independent character, okay, that's a good qualifier. I can kind of usually get that somewhere. But you probably don't have tons of them. You in the game, you legally can't.
So I will say that in 1.0, there was an anti-demon one as well. So they probably just kept this as a layover from 1.0. This is a very narrative pick.
We got self-hating demons over here. My demons hate these demons.
It's Malal. It's Malal. It's literally Malal. But that's why it was in 1.0 as well. No one chose it because, again, but it's still there. It's cool for narrative pick if you want to do demon versus demon, I guess. But on that, it's not the greatest. So far, the rest of them have been good, but that one's the meh.
The rest are somewhere between good and fun. That one just doesn't seem good, and it doesn't seem that fun.
Yeah, it's narrative.
Yeah.
Malevolent Artifice. This is actually
malevolent.
So malevolent. Sorry.
That's okay.
Models with this special rule may reroll all failed armor saves taken against wounds result with strength value lower than their unmodified toughness characteristic. This special rule has no effect on cover saves or invulnerable saves. And you'll find it is unmodified, so you don't get cheesy and you get +1 toughness now. It is unmodified, but so it's not going to really help your lessers, but like your big boys who are toughness 6, 7, 8. That'll be nice.
Plus, in reality, I've looked through it. I don't remember all the stats yet, but my guess is the lesser ones they probably don't even have good armor saves anyway.
Yeah, they're 5 up.
Yeah, so I mean, like a rerollable 5 would be nice, but a lot of times you wouldn't be getting that armor save anyway.
Exactly.
Because base weapons, if they have an AP, are probably going to be taking you away. So you have more of your invul saves. Not exactly an invul save, but it's essentially an invul save. But we know which one your favorite is. Steve, do you have a favorite? All right, so we are back. We're going to hope that the potato of internet that Steve uses, that it has been properly working now. So, Steve, do you have a favorite?
So I kind of like Formless Distortion
Okay.
because it's kind of random, but they're all useful things. You know, like whatever you're fighting, it probably helps you, whatever it is you roll, right? Like concussive, it's not a great rule. I'll be honest. It kind of sucks. But like it's technically a beneficial rule, right?
Yeah.
Concussive is amazing.
Concussive sucks.
But you have to get it to work.
True, but
that's the big if. You can have neat rules, but if they're a tough rule to get off, or if the way my rule works is that my opponent has to fail at things, I don't like the rule as much.
It doesn't. I've never gotten it to go wrong.
For me, Putrid Corruption is really nice. Otherwise, Encroaching Ruin, something that gives me consistency is good.
They're all really cool. I'm sorry, they all really look cool. Except for like the one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although Infernal Tempest, I'll be honest, Infernal Tempest is also kind of meh for me. I'm trying to understand Infernal Tempest, but I'm like, yeah. Okay, so they get a gun that they could shoot.
Keep in mind that you have quite a few of these that essentially have jump packs, or not exact. They word it differently, but it's essentially a jump pack. So a lot of you already have Hammer of Wrath, or you're getting it and you're getting Deflagrate from it. So it's a particular type of force. If you're taking like the Harpy type force or stuff like that, I don't call it Harpies, but those sort of things, then that rule could actually really be getting you some extras in.
Okay.
If you want Fire Demon, that how make Fire Demon.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. But they're all pretty cool. I like these. These are pretty cool.
All right. What that takes us to now then is we do have a set of Warlord traits. We have 4. So, does anyone have a particular?
Oh, Eternal Reveler is mine.
Okay.
I love Eternal Reveler.
I'll kick us off again while I have internet.
Yeah, go for it.
So we have Conqueror of Kings. Some monsters seek the head.
Oh, you said while you have internet, and then you started roboting as soon as you started talking.
Fell there. Unbelievable. This, we had no problems before we started recording. And now that we're recording, the internet's like, you know what? Let's just not work anymore.
All right, so you were going to take Conqueror of Kings.
Yep. So yeah, you get +1 attack when you're fighting a combat with a model that has an independent character. All models in the unit that the Warlord has joined, including the Warlord, get +1 strength when fighting a unit with a model with the independent character rule, or in a unit that model is joined, and you get an extra reaction in the movement phase. So basically, if you want to claim skulls of their
and I should point out real quick.
I like it.
I should point out though. It says any unit that Warlord joins. Fun fact: none of the HQs can join units. So
that's great.
I just want to point that out. Yeah.
But if they could,
this would be really awesome.
Well, to be fair, Dan's favorite phrase, the little baby HQ can join a squad. The Harbinger he can't join, but he brings a squad.
Yeah, he brings 3. He does technically bring 3. So it really only works the Harbinger.
He's a Warlord. The attendants aren't. So the the attendants look at the buff.
Yeah, they will. But in this is very much a solo trait, or only to the HQ unit. So just realize
that. It'll be strength 6, strength 7 on turn 1. That's actually kind of dope.
Yeah. Actually, even higher strength with some weapons if you give them the weapons with +1 strength.
You get a choice.
Yeah. All right. That'll take us to Entropic Force. So damage mitigation rolls taken against wounds inflicted by a Warlord with this trait, and all models within a unit that it has joined, which we just talked about isn't really much of a thing, only succeed on a 6, regardless of the value of the roll. In addition, you get an extra reaction in your movement phase. So if your opponent has damage mitigation, they only get it on a 6 versus you. Depending on who you're facing, that can actually be very, very big, although there's not the mitigations better than that are not quite as common unless people are, taking apothecaries and that sort of like. But overall, decent.
I love it because I hate Felix Orders. And this is a
Yeah.
little way to take a jab at them. Like, what's that? It's a 4-up, and then a 4-up, and then a 4-up. No, it's a 4-up, and a 4-up, and a 6-up. Ah, showed them game balance. Wait.
Yeah, I've taken your
Still
86% success down to like 80%.
Something like that. Something
yeah.
like that.
On that.
Right.
But I mean, it is good overall. But
Let's talk about Eternal Reveler. So, basically, a warlord with this trait and all models the unit has joined, which is nothing, may declare charges during the assault phase, even if they run that turn. So you can run and charge. Ooh. However, also when charging, a warlord with this trait and all models within a unit it has joined may choose to not roll for charge distance, and instead they count the charge distance as equal to the initiative characteristic of the warlord. If it does so, the charge distance cannot be increased in any way. So you can't like do initiative and then +3 for your movement or something.
Yeah.
A charge distance cannot be increased. I'm sorry. In addition, you get an extra reaction in the movement phase. This is great. I love this. This is one of my favorite ones. Run and charge on a big sovereign monster dude.
Yeah.
Excelente.
Your characters are melee based in general. Yeah. So here's something that makes your melee character melee more often and better. Yeah. And if he doesn't have a gun, or you're not worried about a little piddly couple shots, you're just going to want to be able to run anyway. So now you're going to make the distance. And no more double one charges when you needed that 3 inches. Because we've all done that. So far, that one is absolutely tops. That one's really, really good.
Walker of Paths, though, is pretty damn good, Dave.
Yeah. Steve, do you want to try to take that and we'll see how your internet does, or you want me to do it and we'll save your internet for units?
Give me a second, because you were all roboting out. Am I good?
Yeah, you're good. So are we.
Okay. So we got Walker of Paths. Haha. I love it already. If you have this trait on your warlord after deployment, including infiltrators and scouts, and after season initiative has been done, you get to pick 2 of your demon units under your control that are on the battlefield. You take them off and put them into reserve. But instead, you take things from reserve, put them onto the battlefield. Do a quick little switcheroo. You can enter as normal or via the Herald of Unreality rule. And you get an extra shooting phase reaction just to change things up a little bit. Okay, so I don't know if demons have enough stuff going on that redeployment shenanigans are important, but I still like them. So I'm a fan of this.
I will point out that the Heralds of Reality rule allow you to Pokeball. From the Harbinger, you can Pokeball a unit out of him. So what you can do here is put them back in reserve, and all of a sudden you just shit out 20 Bloodletters or 20 Lesser Demons 11 inches away as a reaction. Because it's a shooting reaction.
The Herald of Unreality is a shooting reaction?
Yes. It's a shooting. You can instead of shooting, you can basically portal out a 3 inches away from you, right? A portal. We'll read it when it comes to the rule, but essentially you put a portal 3 inches away from you, and then the unit pops up next to that portal. And it's a shooting. So if someone shoots you or someone tries to charge you or whatever, and you overwatch them, you could just, before they charge you, overwatch, don't shoot, pop this portal out, and shit 20 Lesser Demons in front of the unit.
Okay.
It's the same thing. What are they called? Esoterists?
Yeah,
right?
Esoterists.
The same thing Esoterists can do. You know how Esoterists, like, they can summon demons? You can do the same thing. They summon in the shooting phase instead of shooting. Okay. So if someone charges you, or someone shoots you, I guess, and you want to shoot back. But if someone charges you, you overwatch, don't shoot, summon, and you literally block their path with the biggest boys ever.
Well, when
It's
we look at that, we'll
really
look through
neat
more of that.
Yeah.
But okay, if that's the consensus of how all that works, I haven't read that particular one yet. Okay.
Oh, you're good. You're good. Well, when we get to it, you'll see. It's actually that's why I really like this trait, because if you're using less bigger units or less of the monstrous creatures and more of like the cavalry or the beasts or just the lesser demons, this is excellent because you could be like, oh, you're charging me? Nah. Now you deal with brutes that just popped up in front of this unit.
All right, I'm liking this one more.
Yeah.
And where that reaction occurs then makes some sense as well, because the movement reactions were good for this because you're not doing a lot of shooting, so you didn't need a lot of shooting in there. It's also nice that they specify this as after seize the initiative, so if you happen to have gotten seized on, you can take out the units that you were really worried about, that, oh, I was getting first turn, I'm in a good position, wait, I'm no longer getting first turn, they might blow those units away or something.
Yeah, no, it's actually this is a really, really neat utility pick.
Yeah.
If you don't have the monstrous warlord to charge 30 inches, we'll talk about why it's 30 inches in a second. This is just downright nasty because he's charging me with 10 Death Shroud. Okay, here's 20 lesser demons you have to now carve through.
Well, 10 Death Shroud will do that, but 10 Death Shroud also cost you 700 points.
Yeah, but that's to say,
for 700 points, it better carve.
But no, it's just kind of cool that you could just kind of roadblock someone.
Yeah, no, I agree. No, that one is quite cool. That or Eternal Reveler. I like both of those. I like Walker of Paths for that particular list. I like Eternal Reveler, just for what it does and the pure utility to help out your warlord. But all right, that is going to start taking us to some of these units.
Yeah.
Now, on a different thing. So again, if you're following along, but if you're watching this, I'll display it up. What we're going to see, what's nice is there's not tons of weapon options. So when we talk about it, that part will at least be pretty short. Dan, do you want to take the first one since this is sort of your babies here?
So this is your Demon Sovereign. As per rules, these are the guys who lead the army. So this could be anywhere between a Demon Prince on like 100 mil base to essentially your blood. These are your greater demons. Bloodthirsters, Great and Clean Ones, Keeper of Secrets, and Lord of Change, right? Did I get all four? Yeah. All right, so this dude is going to run you 350 points. He's big.
Yeah,
he's movement 8. Yeah, movement 8. Weapon skill 6. Ballistic skill 5. Strength 7. Toughness 6. 7 wounds. 6 initiative. 5 attacks. Leadership 9. And a 3-up save. He is monstrous. We'll get to why that's super duper, super important. Mm-hmm. He's also a character, not independent character. He's bulky 7. So he's big. He has It Will Not Die 5-up. He's got the Imperium Avatar. So this is actually neat. Imperium Avatar is not Eternal Warrior. It's Eternal Warrior, but not Eternal Warrior. So for those who don't know, Eternal Warrior essentially means that you only take 1 wound if you suffer instant death, right?
Mm-hmm.
Imperium Avatar is you lose D3 for each unsaved wounds. Yeah. So it's the mid-ground. You don't have Eternal Warrior, but you still only take D3 for every failed wound of instant death.
It's the Dreadnought rule.
Die. It's a Dreadnought rule. It's done. It's the Dreadnought rule. You have the ethereal invulnerability, so this is essentially their invulnerable save. It's 4-up, and then all of them have the same thing, Aetheric Dominion X, which is the Aetheric Dominion you take.
Yeah. The big difference with their invulnerability is that they don't get it versus force.
Yes. I should have pointed that out. Yeah. Aetheric invulnerability cannot be used against force. So first, he gets 1 weapon and 1 weapon only, and that's Sovereign Armaments. A lot of these weapons, the names, are basically, they're so broad that it's literally what they're armed with. So he's got weapons that are for the Sovereign. So basically what this means is it's Strength User, AP 2, Melee, Brutal 2, Murderous Strike 5-up, and Immaterial Blades AP 1. To give you an idea what Immaterial Blades is, all that means is that when you roll a 6 to wound, right? Or armor penetration, I should point out, a 6.
Yes, it does actually count for that as well. You specify.
Yes. So once armor penetration or 2 wound, you essentially change it to that AP value. That's all that means. That's all it is. So it does become AP 1 on a roll 6, Murder Strike 5-up, Brutal 2. And it's Strength User. And remember, demons do shift their strength and toughness up and down. So that first turn, he's actually strength. Scrolling back because I'm scrolling back down and up. That's the problem.
Open in a different window. That's what I did.
Strength 8.
He'll be strength 8, so he's essentially causing instant death to Marines.
Oh yeah. He could take a couple things with him, and the good news is a lot of these options are the same options on the Behemoths and the same options on the Arch-Daemon. So once we go over with them once, then that's it. So let's do this. Etheric Conduit, one of my personal favorites. Etheric Conduit is basically you get the Psyker subtype, and you can choose Biomancy, Diabolism, Diabolism,
yeah.
All right, Pyromancy, Telepathy, all amazing. The Telepathy one I was not too cool. I don't know. I guess shutting down reactions is great.
That is good when you have charging type units.
True.
You know, because there's some things there that will outshoot you and kill half of your units coming in.
I was going to say Pyromancy is great because you can drop those stupid large pie plates of damage and dangerous terrain, right? Biomancy is great because you can increase your toughness and strength by 1. But my favorite is Diabolism. So I actually have it saved here because I had to find where the hell Diabolism was because it's in a book. But essentially, Diabolism is my personal favorite because you get a psychic weapon, which I don't care about. It's a flamer, strength 7, AP 4, rending 6 up, deflagrate.
Yeah, it's fine. Nothing wrong with it.
But the big thing is when you charge, you take a psychic test, and if it passes, you get Hammer of Wrath 3, and you increase your strength and toughness by 1. And if you fail, you still get the strength and toughness bonus, but you take a Perils of the Warp. So this one is you still get your strength and toughness if you fail, which is what I love. But it's only on the charge phase. Like it's only during the assault phase that it happens. But nice. And Hammer of Wrath 3 isn't bad.
And that one Aetheric Domain gives you extra Hammer of Wrath, and it causes Death Upgrade on that if you wanted it.
Oh yeah, it's very true, very true. Immaterial wings, this is very simple. They're wings. Yeah. They make you move 14. I think it's literally...
It is jump pack.
But it does give you extra bulky. So now you're bulky 8 if you take it on.
Yes. But jump packs do that in general as well. They make you an extra bulky if you had bulky and things like that.
Exactly.
So before you go to the other ones, I have a question.
Yeah.
Why does their bulky matter? Okay, it will matter versus certain armies care being outnumbered. That's it.
Light Lords, yeah.
Yeah, so that's the only reason, right? Because there's no transports for these guys.
No, that's all it is.
Okay.
You have Etheric. You have Etheric Flight. So this is basically you're bounding and leaping, or you're in a hoverboard. I think like a Zinj disc. You increase your movement. Yeah. Oh yeah. Movement characters gets increased by 3, and you could fly over friendly enemies. Basically, you increase by 3, and you can jump over people. And again, difficult terrain is dangerous terrain. And also you increase your bulky value by 1. Miasma of Rage, you get Rage 2. Unless you have a higher Rage value.
Yeah.
Dark Flame is a template, strength 5, AP 5, assault, torrent 5 inches, flesh bane. So essentially it's a 5-inch torrent flamer that wounds on 2s.
That's good in general. I don't know if you're... How many points is it on him?
It's cheap. I think it's like 10 or 15. I got 10 points short.
15. So if you have a spare 15, you're not going to fit anything else in, just throw it on.
Which you will have with making this army. Because they keep a lot of you have the Unmaking. This is a 12-inch range, strength 8, AP 1, assault 2, armor bane range. I think it's a Melta. 2-shot Melta?
Yeah, it's your way to pop vehicles.
And Warpforged Flesh. You increase your armor save characteristic by 1 to a maximum of 2 up. So these are, again, just they took away a lot of the customization, but you could still customize as you see fit. However, what I really want...
He's PS5.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Him taking the Melta is not a bad option. You can pop the vehicle and then eat the tasty insides.
Because
it's only 15.
You could charge the juicy bits on the inside.
Yes, you can.
Exactly.
That is true.
However, if you're going to charge the juicy bits on the inside, allow me to introduce you to the Sovereign Great Blade. The Sovereign Great Blade is
it good?
10 points. So it's strength plus 3 now, AP 1, melee, brutal 3, murderous strike 5 up, and unwieldy. Now you might be saying, but it's unwieldy, initiative 1. But I point you to the fact that he's monstrous, and the unwieldy rule literally states that if the thing is a monstrous person, you ignore unwieldy.
Yep.
So now you have an initiative 6, strength 10, or higher, because you can buff the strength using psychic powers. Strength 10, initiative 6, brutal 3, murderous strike dude.
Yeah, with 5 attacks, 6 if you charged in.
Yeah.
You are going to make someone's day very, very unhappy.
Very dead.
And
very,
no
very
one
dead.
else has this.
No.
And that's what I was going to say. We all thought it was
like, hey, here's unwieldy. Why? Great question.
Great question. No one knows. Maybe future proofing, but we have zero idea. But overall, I mean, that's what he is. He's a beat stick. He's a stat stick and he's a beat stick. Do not engage in melee. If he's even without the stupid Sovereign Great Blade, don't engage in melee. Shoot his ass to death. Or as someone was pointing out, since we already talking tactics on to kill him, snipers. Just snipe him.
Just at the end, I mean, he's 7 wounds. That's not actually that many, and he's not with a unit. He's not like your other independent characters that can hide out and essentially have ablative wounds, or maybe a good unit that you can call ablative. Now, this dude's hanging out on his own.
Dave, allow me to introduce you to math. Are you ready? You take this dude. You give him.
Are you saying I don't know math?
No. Just
that sounds like you're saying I don't know math.
No. All right. Give him the wings.
Do I not know your math? This weird.
No.
Is your math the new shaky age math that I hear about?
Yes. Oh God, I hate it too. I was actually looking at some of the elementary. So you give him the wings for move 14, right?
Yeah.
You give him the Warlord trait that lets him run in charge.
Oh, absolutely.
So he moves 20 inches, right?
Because you add your initiative on, so he's moving 20 inches.
So that's +3 on the charge, right? So 2d6 +3. You're looking at a 54% chance of charging something about 7 inch or 10 inches away. So 54% because you just shift the 7 up to a 10.
Yeah,
right?
Of course.
So it's a 54%. However, you could also now give him Crimson or Heedless Slaughter, and he gets an additional +1 to his charge. So he's +4. So he can make an 11-inch charge 54% of the time. So he can basically has a threat range of 31 inches.
Yeah, well, or if you want more of assurance, he can essentially make charges of 25 inches.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
He will have those for sure.
And I was just looking at this like, this is pretty cool. Because Age of Sigmar, you can do this with a Bloodthirster. It's actually quite fun to do. It doesn't do much. Kind of like this. I'll be honest. Having the Sovereign charge balls to the wall, bomb him down the line 30 inches sounds hilarious. Probably will maybe kill a unit and then he dies. But it is very, very, very thematic for a Bloodthirster.
it probably boils down to like if it's your turn 1 and you're starting off, I can reach the thing. Whatever I want to charge, I'm reaching. I have a good shot at reaching something. But now I'm in the middle. You can't let me stay there. And depending on the range of your weapons and effectiveness and all, you might not be able to shoot the other things I have because they just might be too far away from you. So you're going to pump everything in this guy. And he's a dreadnought. For all intents and purposes, when you look at him, he's like a dreadnought. And let's face it, in 30k now, you need to be able to take down 2 dreadnoughts in your list. If you can't handle a couple dreadnoughts, your list is not going to do well. But if you can take those down, you could take this guy down.
Oh, yeah. But still, very hilarious thing that I mathed out. And I was just like, that is... it's really funny to do.
Yeah, and it's like they put him at 350, but no, he's in my mind, he's at least 380 because I'm taking the wings, and I might take some other stuff. Oh,
I have him at 420 because I take him I give him the wings, and I take the Etheric Conduit to give him the Diabolus,
Diabolus,
and Sovereign Great Blade.
Where are you saying, Steve?
So he's like,
now, you can't use grenades against this thing, right? Because it's not a dreadnought or automata.
Is monstrous part of the grenade rule? I don't know. I
think it is, because I'm pretty sure like Ogrins are monstrous, right?
Is it under grenade?
Yes, they are. Dan can look and check that for us. He can.
Well, here's the thing. I don't think I have. I was going to say I don't think I have like the grenade rule.
I have the full rule book right next to me. Let me look that up.
Okay, so Steve will look it up.
That's a very good question. That's actually a good question.
Yes. And while Steve looks that up, I will move on to talk about the Hierarch. So we'll get on to the next guy because we got quite a few units here.
Yeah, the Demon Prince.
Yep. All right, so essentially for their Demon Prince there, the Hierarch, it's 250 points. Awesome move 8, weapon skill 5, so still better weapon skill, ballistic skill 4, that's fine. Strength toughness 5 to start out with. He's got 4 wounds. 4 wounds is kind of rough at 250 points, but initiative 5 with 4 attacks, 8 leadership, and 3 up save. He has infernal armaments. We have that here for infernal armaments. It's his own strength. It's AP 3. So for these guys, big guys, they're essentially cutting through basic armor. Melee, brutal 2. And his immaterial blades rule is to make it AP 2. So 6s to wound or to armor pen are AP 2. Cries in Knight Lancers. All right. They have the same sort of base rules. So they all have Aetheric Domain. Not going to keep saying that. His invulnerable save is a 4-up. His ethereal, but he's Empyrean Avatar. The same thing we talked about. His will not die on a 6-up. He's bulky 5, and of course he's a traitor. His upgrades are the same, except he can't take that special blade that's not named after him. But all the other things he can take, he's taken them for a bit cheaper in general. His wings are only 25 instead of 30. The conduits, 25 instead of 30. So prices are sometimes a little different, but otherwise very similar in terms of what he can take. This guy, to me, is I take him if I can't afford the other guy.
Yep.
That's the only reason I want the other guy. I don't want both. That's way too many points. That's too many eggs in this basket. We have cheaper HQs if you want to run 2 HQs. But if I can't fit the other guy because of my list or the style or what I have put together, he's a decent fill-in. But this guy also, he's going to be in the 3s because I'm going to want some of these upgrades on him because he's a little lackluster to my mind until he gets them. You know, he's only 4 wounds, so he's going to go down quick. So I need to really utilize that initiative 5. He needs to be hurting and destroying the things before they get to go, which means he doesn't necessarily want to go against elite type stuff. He's only 4 attacks, say 5 on the charge. That's not a lot. His strength doesn't get to like base in any way like the doubling out Marines, which means if you're multi-wound, I have to get through all those wounds. He feels a little bit meh to me for what you're paying for. Yes,
and that's pretty much the consensus. It feels like a lot of people are saying that this guy's kind of just eh. He's kind of there is a couple eh over here, but this is the most eh I see. He just needed something. I honestly maybe just make him AP2, and now he justifies the like AP2 to AP1, right with the 6. Now he's like a demon prince who could take on Terminators, and he's 250 points. It's just the AP3 is what kills me on him. Yeah, it's literally the AP3 that kills him. He needs something, and honestly, that'd be the easiest thing to change. Just make him AP2.
It's like, the problem is like, okay, his 4 attacks, like, you don't want to take him against anything in Terminators, because in general, the Terminators are going to get their saves, or maybe like 1 won't, because he can be AP2 if I wound you on a 6. But I'm not even hurting Terminators, and my toughness, in the start of the game, my toughness is technically 6 because they get that +1 and all. But even that, I'm only 6 if I'm going against some decent Terminators. They're going to start getting wounds through. If I'm getting hit with anything good, I'm on a 4-up. I'm only 4 wounds. You will go down very, very fast. And like I said, you probably want this guy with a couple points because he's already not cheap. Yeah. So I'm not thrilled with him.
No, that's a common thing that I've seen right now on Discord.
Find the 100 points to take even the other guy base. Go ahead.
The use.
Okay.
He is one of the 3 models in the army that could take the melta gun. And that's about it. That's the use case. He can take the melta gun.
I still try to find the 100 points and get the other guy. Or save the points and take the one underneath them.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Just that's like the use case I found is he is an extra guy that can have a melta gun.
Yeah.
For 250 points.
He's too expensive. He's expensive like a beat stick, but he's not enough of a beat stick.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, Terminators will wreck his shit.
Yeah. Even just think of even if we go outside of Terminators, if you think of your other specialized assault units, non-Terminator, normal armor guys, assault units, his weapon skill is only 5, a lot of theirs are. His toughness, again, it's not too crazy. It's a little bit high, but you might have good weapons, or at least +1s and stuff like that. If I'm going at you, say Dark Angel-wise, a Firewing Agamatus squad, I might lose a decent amount of my guys. May also survive, but you only have 4 attacks. You're probably not killing all of me. And my weapons, I'm going to get through you. You know, like think of that Palatine Blade squad, like you said. Those sort of things. Like, there's squads that will cut through him that didn't either spend all these points, or if they did, but they'll take him out. There'll still be enough left, and they can do something else. So, I don't know.
So I think the issue could be summarized as this. We have a good, better, best sort of comparison going on here. Instead of diverse options, it's just, oh, well, you know, I'm going to find 100 points to make him the other dude, because the other dude's just objectively better.
Yeah.
On every stat you compare, except what? The save doesn't go from 3 to 4 or 3 to 2, whichever direction you want to look at it. And the movement stays at 8. But, like, yeah.
Yeah.
Good, better, best is not good game design. I'll put it that way.
No, you want to feel that there's a good space.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't feel there's a good space. But maybe you can sell us on this Harbinger. He's even cheaper.
He is noticeably cheaper at 135 points. You could almost get 2 Harbingers per Hierarch. Just saying. Just saying.
You honestly really can, because you're going to take that guy with some upgrades, so you could absolutely still get 2 for 1.
Yeah. So what do you get in this 2-for-1 trade? 135 points, you get a dude. The dude's going to be movement 8. Again, very popular number for demons, it seems. Weapon skill 5, ballistic skill 3, strength 4, toughness 5, 3 wounds, initiative 5, 3 attacks, leadership 8, and a mere 4 up save. The dude rolls in with his Harbinger blade, which is Harbinger only. He's a demon character. He could take some attendants, so it'll be demons. Those attendants have infernal armaments. We'll get to them in a minute. You get, you know, the suite of rules you get. He has the 5-up invul instead of the, you know, whatever else.
Yeah, 4-up.
He is the guy with Herald of Unreality. So he's the guy that could open the portals and bring in more demons. He's your summoner cast, essentially. He gets hammer. The attendants get Hammer of Wrath. The attendants get Bulky. And the attendants get Chosen Warriors. They can fight in challenges. Basically, this dude is supposed to be your summoner type character. And he's decently beefy, which, you know what? I won't complain. He's not huge, but he could hold himself, you know?
Yeah.
You can take one of the following options, either the Aetheric Conduit, the Miasma of Rage, or the Warp-Forged Flesh. I would be tempted to take the Flesh every time, just to get him out of that heavy bolter threat range.
Yeah. With only 3 wounds, you want to have at least a 3-up save. So, get him to the 3-up.
But it'll only save him. His attendants will still get shredded.
Oh, yeah.
45 points each gets you attendants. I believe this is like the generic brute stat line, just stapled onto the character. So, should we save that for their own discussion?
Yeah, we get the biggest thing is compared to him, they're an extra strength but worse leadership.
Yep. Yeah, actually, this is just.
He's a good support character. I mean, if you take Aetheric Conduit, give him Pyromancy, he starts pooping out 3 large blast templates that do damage and also provide difficult terrain.
Yeah,
that's also that's a shooting attack, so you can react with that as well.
Yeah, he's your classic mage type demon.
Yeah,
he's like the summoner, the wall of lava, all that.
Oh, I should point out,
which is always fun.
Did you explain Herald of Unreality or no?
No, it probably makes sense for you.
Yeah, I got it. It takes 5 seconds. So essentially, if you include a model with this rule, right?
Which is this guy.
Which is this guy. He's the only. I should point out he's the only one with Herald of Unreality so far, but yes, you can select one additional unit that has the demon unit type to place reserve for each model. Up to 2 for each model in this army with this rule beyond the first. The chosen unit may only enter play by means of Warp Rift, which I'll explain in a second. No reserve rolls are made for this unit. So what a Warp Rift is instead of making a shooting attack, this is what I was talking about reactions, Dave. Instead of making a shooting attack, the controlling player in the model with the special rule may place a blast marker 3 inches of base contact with the model and not over any other models to represent the Warp Rift. Then the model's controlling player may then choose to move one of the demon units that were placed in the reserve using the special rule in the battlefield. That unit moves onto the battlefield from any point along the edge of the blast marker, placed to represent the Warp Rift as if it was entering play from reserves, treating the Warp Rift marker as if it was controlling the player's battlefield edge. Note that it is not treated as control player's battlefield edge for any other purposes. Once all models in the selected unit have moved onto the battlefield, the Warped mark is removed from play, and the demon unit brought to play by using this power may act as normal in the shooting phase, in which it arrives and may declare charge in the assault phase if you did the charge. And that's what I was saying before. What you can do with this guy, we call it Pokeballing. I don't know why that popped up. I think Trazen started this nonsense, because Trazen connects Pokeballs. And essentially, you're getting charged by, I don't know, Reavers, right? You can say, all right, I'm going to Overwatch, place the blast marker, shit out 20 demons, and be like, okay, try to get to me. So it's a good way of just being like, no. Or, I'm using lesser demons. I think the only restriction is just it has to have a demon unit type, right?
Yeah, it has to be a demon unit type. That's it.
Can you just shit out? Can you shoot out a? Wait, no. Can you shoot out a behemoth?
No.
Hold on.
As there's.
Yeah, I don't see anything that says you can't do.
Oh, sorry. Same detachment. The detachment's limitation.
No.
Yes.
That you're thinking Arch-Daemon. Arch-Daemon's Lord of War. The behemoth is the heavy support.
So yes, you can.
No restriction on that.
Just shit out a knight. Oh, it's a knight base essentially. Okay. You're gonna charge me? Have a chitin. That's funny. Yeah. I thought I should have read this a little better. I thought it had to be like infantry or like.
No, there's like, no restriction like that currently.
I'm trying. Yeah. Huh. Yep. Neat. That is hilarious.
So I mean, this guy essentially has worth for that alone. He's 135, which might. You can make an argument for that maybe is a little bit expensive, but he has a lot of nice abilities he does, and he's the one who lets you do this. So he's paying extra for that, and it's absolutely worth it.
I do wish he could join other units like Lesser Demons. It does kind of annoy me that he has that, who was that word bearer that had the same problem, but he got fact anyway. But who was the word bearer? Zariel? No. The guy who took like the two attendants?
Yes.
And he couldn't join. Right? I forgot what his
at
name.
The time we had read it, he wasn't allowed to join anyone.
And they fact him. Did. And I feel like this should just get fact because honestly, Harbingers are essentially your heralds. Like this is Skulltaker, or this is Horticulus Slimix, or this is any of the heralds that you want. And it kind of sucks. You can't just stick him with the lesser demons, which is what he's supposed to do. Because you know what I mean. But anyway, that's just me. That's one of my first gripes. By the way, I don't have many. But that's actually one of the first gripes I have. That he should have just been able to join a unit.
No, I agree. They don't let any of the characters in. Okay, if that's their design, but it would be nice to let at least this guy join in because he's a bit lighter. And for 45 points of attendant, that's a little rough.
Yeah, and then the Warlord Traits would make sense because the Warlord Traits are all about if you join this unit, you get this.
Yeah, it's essentially just for him if he takes attendance. That's what that's all about.
Yeah. It's just kind of weird, especially because like Skulltaker wants to be in his bloodletters. But anyway, that's just me. This is a slight thing that I griped about. But other than that, pretty cool.
All right. Well, that takes us out of the HQs and puts Dan to talk about the Brutes.
Brutes are super easy because Forge World produces them. So these are 50 mil base models. They're 135 points for 3. They have Infernal ornaments. We talked about Infernal already, right? Infernal is what the
a few things
Hierarch
have had
Yep. So Strength User, AP 3, Brutal 2, AP 2 on a 6.
Yep.
Wait, did I say that correct?
Yes. Nailed it.
Love it. I already memorized it. Yeah. So Demon Brutes are movement 8, Weapon Skill 5. Oh, they are Weapon Skill 5. Who lied to me? What the
don't worry about that. Keep going.
Yeah. Weapon Skill 5, Ballistic Skill 3, Strength 5, Toughness 5, 3 wounds, 4+ save, Initiative 5, 3 attacks, Leadership 7. And you can take 6 more for 40 points each. These are just Hammer of Wrath 1. They have a 5-up invulnerable. They're bulky 3. That's what they're beefy. They're just beefy blocks of smash. They don't have guns. They smash. But very easy. You know what I mean? They're just good. And someone kept telling me that they were Weapon Skill 4. And I was like, I swear to God, I saw that they were Weapon Skill 5. I've been able to look at these documents since like yesterday.
Well, it literally only came out yesterday.
Yesterday, true. But I looked at it yesterday and someone was like insisting that their weapon skill 4. And I was like going to check it up and I never got to. I was like, oh, that sucks that their weapon skill 4. Their weapon skill 5. What did people talk about? All right. No, these are great. I love them. Excellent. I'm going to be mad about these. I would probably take 6, not 3. Honestly.
Yeah,
9 might
3's going to go down too fast. Yeah. And 9, you might be putting too many eggs in that basket.
Especially if they're 50 mil bases. Jesus Christ. 9 50 mil bases.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to move them.
Yeah. 6 is a nice, good. 5 to 6 is a nice, good amount, in my opinion, of these guys. But yeah, no, neat. And again, what annoys me, here's second gripe in a row. These used to be the retinue for the lords. So in 1.0, this was how?
The Harbinger is the same unit.
It's for the Harbinger, but that's it.
Yeah, but you can't. Okay, then let me take 9 with the Harbinger. Okay, now I understand he's taking a unit. He can only take, 3?
That's fair.
Yeah, he only takes 3.
Up to 3.
And also, wait a minute. Is it like, hold on, but they're also more points. They're 45 and is there like
that's exactly the same points.
They become chosen warriors. That's the difference.
No. Brutes are 40 points a pop to add.
Okay, yeah. So when they're with him,
it's a chosen warrior.
Then chosen warrior.
Yeah. Chosen warrior.
That's what challenges on his behalf.
You're right. But yeah, then let me go up to 6, or let me go up to 9. Now I could be like, okay, that's Skulltaker with his like retinue of brutes, and that makes sense. Or that's Siscale or Horticulus Slimix. Now it makes sense. Does that make sense? So the gripe is not really them with the brutes. The gripe is with still back to the 3 demon attendants of the Harbinger not being able to join. Okay, we're good then. That was but no, good unit, bulky, great, beefy, does what they do well.
Yeah, and elites are something you get multiple slots of. We're going to notice in a moment. We're going to talk about your other elite, so you have the spaces to fit these guys if you want them.
Oh yeah,
but and reasonably cheap. All right, I think that's me then. So we are on to the beasts. Is there a particular what are the models that you mentioned?
These are new. Guys? Here's one of the new ones.
Yeah.
So we don't know, but beasts we're assuming because we have cavalry as well.
Yeah.
Right. So beasts can be anywhere between. We thought fleshhounds, but it could also be the Forge World Plague Toads, right?
Mm.
But they're also the weird part is that they're 3 wounds. So even blood crushers are obviously cavalry, but blood crushers can fit in this group as well because 3 wounds.
Yeah.
You know. So again, it's very amorphous, but this is again the base sizes of these is what you usually looking at a 40 mil base, 60 mil base, or the ovals. Any one of the ovals essentially, because it is 3 wounds.
Yeah.
It is beefy.
All right. So related to these guys, so it's 110 points for a squad of 3. They have move 10, so they're a little bit faster. But like I said, these are more of a cavalry type thing. These guys are down to the weapon skill 4, so the base sort of weapon skill there. Blizzard skill is 3. They're strength 5 with a toughness of 4. They got 3 wounds a guy. Initiative 4, 3 attacks. They're 7 leadership, and they have a terrible save of a 5 up. But their invulnerable save, their ethereal one, is a 5 up as well. They're bulky 3. They're traders, and they have demon armaments. If we swap over to there, demon armaments, it's strength user, AP 4, melee, and that immaterial blades on makes it AP 3. So if they roll 6s to wound, because the armor pen of AP 3 doesn't matter, but 6s to wound, they'll be AP 3. They'll be cutting through normal armor saves. Overall, I do like that. Not everything in this. There's a lot of good AP in this army. It's good that not everything is crazy AP. 30 points extra. If you want any more, you can take up to 6 more of these guys. For 5 points a model, you can give them Aetheric Flight, so you can get them 4 extra inches, as well as like some Hammer Wrath and other things like that. And you can exchange your demon armaments for Immaterial Flame, if you wish. So you can make them flamers.
All of them.
Immaterial Flame. It's a template, of course. It's AP 4, and it's Assault 1. So
quick correction. You do not get Hammer of Wrath on Aetheric Flight. You get it on the Immaterial Wings.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yep, +3 movement, so we move in 13.
Movement,
Oh, yeah, sorry. The flight is the +3, not the actual big thing. That's stupid that you have flight and then wings, and they're 2 different things.
The easiest way I remember
like that.
is that the easiest way I remember it is flight are your Zinch discs.
Yeah.
That's how I've been kind of
flight is
normalizing it. Or jump.
Is,
and wings are wings.
Yeah.
That's how I've been kind of...
My apologies. I said that backwards. But
you're
okay.
good, you're good.
I don't know if I'd put the flight on them. Like I said, if you want to make them flamers of Tzeentch, you could do the immaterial flame. Not a bad option, because we did say with that herald ability that if you come out in the right phase, you do get to essentially use yourself in the right phase, so you can actually have some flame weapons and all. You can get yourself in the way. Since you don't have much shooting, I do like that, but...
Yeah, someone was saying you Pokeball these guys out, right? When they try to charge you, right? Now you can't charge them because you didn't declare them as a charge target. You can't reach the Harbinger because he's behind them.
Yeah.
Then your turn, they 9 models just flame everywhere on whoever just tried to charge, getting a million wounds. Because it's strength 4, yes, but it's...
They're going to FAQ that. They have to.
And wait, gets better. Now they charge your flamer unit, take Overwatch.
Yeah.
They probably won't, because, fun fact, the Esoterist can do this already with Bound Demons. So people figure this out. That people haven't done it yet because no one has really Demons yet, or an Esoterist. But an Esoterist, if you charge a squad with an Esoterist in it, he can do a shooting reaction, an Overwatch reaction. Sure, he can just choose not to shoot, and one of his psychic abilities is, instead of shooting, summon the monster. So he could just summon 9 bound brutes in front of him. So just no one does it because no one owns the models. But it is a possibility.
Yeah. Now, they could FAQ it at some point. Who knows? I don't think they will. And I look at it in 2 things. 1, they wrote the rule very specifically, so I think that is their intention. And 2, they've already said, like, hey, you're playing this thing for fun. I don't think they're as worried about if you have something that's a little bit too much. I'm not saying it is too much, but if it turns out it is, I don't think that's actually their concern. For better or worse, I don't think they're worried about that.
Agreed. To be fair, it's also just strength 4 flamers. As funny as it is, as harsh it is to get hit with 9 strength 4 flamers, it's still only 9, or strength 5. Sorry, strength 5 flamers.
Yeah,
strength 6 on turn 1 or 2. Okay.
Yeah, we're thinking. I always like to think in general that you're playing against Marines, because that's what most of the armies will be.
Yeah.
If you're up to 6, you're now wounding Marines on 2s. Yeah, it might be making roll saves. It's maybe not great against Terminators, but even then, if I make you roll enough saves, if I hit a 5-pack of Terminators, that is, potentially 45 on 2s. That's most of them. I'm going to start taking down some of those Terminators. And if I take a few down, now some of my other units, when they charge in, I can guarantee that I win, and I can guarantee that I don't take a lot of damage back. So I don't mind that.
Yeah. It's really cool because, again, they took away some of the customization. They're still there, but I like that the combos are still kind of viable. It's just, I like that. It's kind of neat.
Yeah, I think I would take the immaterial flame on this. I don't think I take the extra 3 inches of move. I don't think I need it. On a 10 move with the template, I think I'm okay.
Yeah.
But I do like these guys. But that moves us now into troops, and that moves us on to Steve to talk about said troops.
The lesser demons. So 120 points, you get your 10 demons. You get 10 more at 10 points a pop. Pretty straightforward. There can be movement 7, weapon skill 4, ballistic skill 3, strength and toughness 4, 1 wound, initiative 4, 2 attacks, leadership 7, and a 5-up save. They get a 5-up invul and the Dominion and Trader and demon armaments, so they have lesser breaching on the 6th to AP3.
Yeah.
That's cool. And they can exchange demon armaments for immaterial projectiles, which are range 18, strength user, AP4, assault 2.
Pink horrors.
1.
Pink horrors.
Yep.
And honestly, 40 shots.
These guys changed a lot from last edition. There used to be 2 wounds.
Yeah, there used to be 2 wounds. That's the only change.
Which was a big deal.
That's a huge change.
They were 2 wounds due to instant death, if I remember correctly.
Yes,
you did. Something like that.
They were 2 wounds. No, they were 2 wounds. Nothing else changed, though. They still have the 5-up. Actually, no. So, fun fact, they had a 4-up save or a 3-up save if you gave it brass collars. So they were 2 wounds, 3-up save, 5-up invulnerable. So they were a little beefier last edition.
Yeah, they changed
a lot. This is one of the biggest changes. But
is this the only troop? No, okay, there's another one. The Swarms.
There's other troops, but this is the only line. Shibata, this is the only line.
Yeah, so you got to take these guys for scoring purposes anyway.
That is true. They are the only line.
You take 20 of them.
Swarms are line.
The Swarms are line?
No, they're not.
They're line and skirmish.
Oh my god, they are line. Oh my god,
well, there you go.
But also, they're also toughness 3, toughness 2 on turn 3. So maybe not. Maybe not.
There's good and bad reasons. Okay, yeah, we'll give it that it's good and bad, but you do have more line.
Doesn't support squad mean they can't score? Oh no, support squad is
no. It means it can't be compulsory.
Yeah,
got it.
So you have to at least take 2 of these units, and then you can start taking a look at the Swarms.
Okay, that makes sense.
Or 1 unit of Lesser and Zone Mortalis, for example.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I will point out, listen, 40 shots coming out at 18 inches, strength 5 on turn 1 or 2. That's not bad.
That's objectively good.
Yeah. That's heavy bolters.
You are shooting the way that a big tac squad can. And essentially that's what these guys, they're tac squad equivalents. So so if you don't have a melee weapon, are you allowed to fight in melee?
Yeah.
Tactical squads don't have one.
Yeah, you just do your strength.
That's very true. Yeah, it's just so weird because you would be removing their melee weapon. But yeah, all right, yeah, you just get 2 attacks and just your base strength and all. It's funny to think about that. Like you removed all their claws.
It's pink cars. They're slapping you with their forearms.
Yeah, I guess so.
They're doing that.
All right.
Oh man.
I mean, they're a good line option. You're going to need to take them because you have to take compulsory troops in general. These guys don't have any rights of war that we've seen or anything like that, so you're not doing anything too crazy. So you're going to have a few of these guys.
The Dominions do affect these guys a lot.
Yes, they do.
You could give them they give them a 5 up feel of pain, or give them +1 a charge. So I like the fact that they do change based on the Dominion, how you play them, which is great. Again, that's still super stupid cool.
Yeah. A little bit rough for the fact that you can't choose different dominions. I agree you shouldn't. I think that should be way too complicated. Yes. But I would love to give these guys that 5 up feel no pain, essentially, and give my big demon something different.
That's not one of my gripes.
Do it like Thousand Sons had it last edition, where your compulsory choices had to match the Warlord, then the other ones were open.
Yeah, I think I'd be fine. I'm fine with it the way they did it, but I am seeing now, what I want for these guys isn't what I want for most of the rest of the army.
Yeah. Maybe.
No, that's my belief. You can think otherwise, but I won't. All right.
And by the way, sorry, just to interrupt, because I'm browsing the Discord as we're talking, and someone's like, "Oh, we're talking about behemoths. We haven't talked about them yet, but they're basically night bases or very close to 130." And someone goes, "All right, I'm going to use the Night Haunt, big chariot, stupid thing of the ghosts carrying the chariot.
Yes,
a huge throne." And someone goes, "I'm going to use Nagash." So that's what I'm saying. It's so cool to see people being I'm going to use models and convert them to be. Anyway, sorry, just wanted to point that out. It just puts a smile on my face.
All right. Well, it puts you on the Swarms. So.
Oh yes, it does. So Swarms, 80 points. These are your Nurglings. But if you want to do specific ones, you could do Nurglings for Nurgle. You can do Ripper Swarms for Khorne. Someone brought that up.
Yes,
that'd be cool. For Tzeentch, so this is the problem with not having base sizes. Someone goes, I could use Brimstones. The problem is Brimstone Horrors are on 25 mil bases. And no, don't do that. It'd have to be you'd have to put 6 of them on one base and put on a 40 mil base. And then for Slaanesh, I have no idea what you would do for Slaanesh.
The comment redacted.
Yeah, shut up. So 80 points, movement 8, their weapon skill 3, ballistic skill 3, strength 3, toughness 3, 4 wounds, initiative 3, 2 attacks, initiative 6, 6 up. They are line, apparently. Which
they are. It's not apparently. They have the rule.
No, that's what I'm saying. My eyes are raised. You get 5 of them. They have no war gear, no weapons whatsoever. You can take an additional 5 for 15 points a pop. Their support squad, their Swarm, which I always forget what Swarm is. They have a 6 up invulnerable. Just remember, turn 3 to 4, they're going to be toughness 2. So bolters will instant death that.
Yeah. No. 3 to 4 doesn't lower you. It puts you back to base.
Oh, no, that's right. 5 to 6. 5 to 6.
It's 5 to 6.
I wish I knew they were lying. I gotta buy some Ripper Swarms now. I gotta buy some some corn.
The swarm rule, since you're asking,
yes,
says you what's it called?
I don't know. You didn't really start yet.
Sorry, I just want to make sure I get this right because I looked at oh yeah, it's that, and then I immediately threw away the specific wording of it. Okay, each unsaved wound is multiplied to 2 wounds against blasts and templates, unless it causes instant death. In which case, you're dead, because instant death.
Okay. Most blasts.
So yeah, double damage for blasts and templates.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Neat. These are really cool backline holders.
Yeah.
Don't charge the salamanders with them.
Yeah, don't. Yeah. I wish I knew they were lying. This is like a nice little throw 80 points down to hold the back objective.
Well, it's nice. It's literally only been out a day, so it's not like you played like a dozen games and never figured out their line. You've literally done nothing with it yet.
The last 100 games.
Honestly, I skipped them. Yeah, I skipped them because I'm like, oh, these are Nurglings, and Nurglings were a big thing back in the day because you could use them to you throw one down on the objective and you hold that objective. It was really dumb, so they got rid of that from Nurglings. So I'm like, oh, they probably did that here, but no. Pick 5 of them, shove them in the back objective. Now. That's neat.
Yeah, they tend to be a short unit in general. Swarm would be. So these are things that are very easy to hide. So if you do have these backfield objectives, this unit can sit there. Skirmish helps it out. Sits there for your line. It's not very survivable, but if you're doing like progressive scoring, and the hope is you're doing missions with progressive scoring, that's fine. Someone takes them out later. At least I gain some points off them for now. And you had to dedicate a lot more than I spent.
By the way, here's an idea. Since we're talking about conversion days for the swarms, the Night Haunt, the Ghost trio, Spirit Hosts.
Yeah.
Take Spirit Hosts, switch out the heads for Bloodletter heads. There's your Cornate one.
No, Corn could be Ripper Swarms. I was thinking Ripper Swarms. Oh, wait,
he's giving you other ideas.
Yeah, now it's a Blood Ghost.
There's no right answers, only wrong ones.
Actually, that's not a bad idea. Paint like the wisps like blood.
Yeah.
Oh, God damn it, Steve! I was trying.
I feel like I've seen that before, and now you're stuck going out.
The guy who does Guerrilla Miniature Games. I always forget his name. Ash Barker.
Yeah.
He has a whole Night Haunt army, but it's themed around blood. So like the Nagash trails are like deep blood. And the Night Haunt things, all the wisps are blood. It's actually really, really, really neat. But yeah, that's actually neat. I'm still trying to think about what you would do for a Slanesh. I have no idea.
If someone has a good idea, post in the comments.
Yeah, post in the comments because I'm trying to think. I have no idea.
All right. Well, while you're thinking, I'm going to go on to the Cavalry. So we're looking at 150 points for 5 of these guys. They're 20 points extra. You can take another 5. They are move 12 because these are Cav now, of course. Weapon skill 4, ballistic skill 3. Who cares about that? Strength and toughness 4s. They got 2 wounds a pop. Initiative 4 with 2 attacks. Leadership at 6, so pretty bad, and a 4-up save. For this, they have their Demon armaments. It's the same one we've been talking about, the AP4 base weapon, but on 6s you get the AP3. They have their domain, 5-up invul save, their traders, of course, and they, of course, can go to the immaterial projectiles for 2 points a model in this particular case. So if you want to give them shooting instead of the close combat style attack, you can do that. I find for the moment sometimes it's hard to get excited about a lot of these because essentially they're just purely a profile. You can model them the way you want, and that's cool. But there's like, all right, so these guys are a little bit faster than some of the other things we looked at. They have assorted their stats. But otherwise, they're very similar. There's not much difference, where it feels like sometimes other things have more difference.
Also, Steve put a picture of what the Blood Demons would look like, and I'm now mad that I didn't think of this because it looks really, really cool.
I have too many. With this projected up, I can't put it up.
It's Night Haunts. It's the Night Haunt Ghost painted with basically to me a clear red. Okay. You remember, you see my demons, right? Yeah. You know the guy with the big blood ball on his back?
Sure.
That's swirling?
He sounds like a person.
You've seen him, right? He's got a big blood. That's what it looks like.
Okay.
And it's
oh yeah, I looked it up. I can see. I just can't display it up for others to see.
Oh God, it looks so good. God damn it, Steve! I hate you so much. I was going to do Rippers.
And now Dan's off to order a whole bunch of spirit hosts.
You're welcome. I am. Yeah, they better not be expensive. I swear to God, I'm gonna hurt you.
Yeah, of course they're expensive. It's GW. If you're watching on YouTube, I put it up in front of the camera a moment ago.
Yeah.
But I mean, overall, they're fitting a good role. The 2 woo and stuff like that. I mean, your base, you're spending about 30 points a guy. Guess that's not too bad. When you have a 5-up, so invul saves are interesting. You'll always have the 5-up, which is nice. Unless it's forced, but okay, let's get outside of that. You'll have your 5-up, which is nice. But a 5-up means if I'm rolling pretty good, I can live and have a good feeling. But if I'm not rolling well, these guys are just remove them straight from the board. So when you have that, I think they do pay a bit of a premium because of that. And invul saves are always very hit and miss. It just depends on if you happen to roll nice. If you don't roll nice, you might as well not even have the thing. So, overall not bad. And I guess I do have to keep in mind that early in the game, they're really strength 5, toughness 5. So when it's
hard to constantly think of.
Yeah, when you are at your best, when your opponent is at their best, because they have their full army to wage into you, these guys are at their strongest. Especially the toughness is the big key. With only 2 wounds with essentially a 5-up save, that's not super survivable. The extra toughness means those lighter weapons aren't cutting through you as easily.
I feel like cavalry and beasts are got switched at birth. But I think about corn juggernauts, and I feel like the strength 5, 3 wounds is a better match.
Yep,
and
that's
then I think
what I
like flesh hounds, and this seems like a better match.
Yes, and that's where I was kind of weirded out because there used to be the beasts. So it's funny, beasts used to be as a troop choice, and they used to be 1 wound. They used to be flesh hounds, is what it was. Now beasts are in the elite choice with 3 wounds,
and it's more like not it's more like what's the other one? The fiends.
Yeah, Slaanesh, yeah.
The fiends are blood crushers, and I'm looking at cavalry more now, like the dogs, because dogs can be 2 wounds. I'll give up that, or like the really skinny. They're not called seekers. They're even skinnier than the seekers in Slaanesh. They're literally like the lick of tongue dudes. Or are they called seekers?
Those are the seekers.
Oh, those are the seekers.
Yeah,
the seekers are the cavalry, and the
blood crushers would be the beasts.
Fiends.
Oh, fiends. Fiends would be the beasts.
Which also fiends are beefier than seekers. So again, it's like it feels backwards.
It's just weird that you don't call blood crushers like I would want to put blood crushers in the cavalry section.
To me, they should be. Cavalry to me means a guy on a thing.
But blood crusher is like 3 times the size of a seeker.
I mean, hey, the bases are just a general suggestion.
Exactly, general suggestion. But that's what I was.
No, I agree. Anyway. When I look at this, when you look at Cav, I expect more from Cav, and if I have to spend more points on it, that's fine. But to me, the profile doesn't read as Cav; it reads as like super light Cav, maybe. And maybe they have a light Cav and sort of heavy Cav. But when you say Cav, I think of something a little bit heavier than this. But
honestly, I'm just going to recall beasts heavy cavalry to make my life happen.
I agree. Absolutely agree.
There's like Runestorm demon skirmishers and Runestorm demon cataphracts.
Exactly.
All right. That takes Steve to talk about the
Harriers.
Totally not harpies.
All right. The next fast attack choice. Harriers, 150 points, gets you a demon with movement 7, weapon skill, ballistic skill, strength, and toughness 4. This is just a Space Marine. 1 wound, it's a Space Marine.
Except for its save, it's a Space Marine.
1 attack, leadership 7. Oh my god, save 5. It's a Space Marine with a bad armor save. Wow. Okay. So you get 10 of these guys. They come with immaterial wings, so they fly and they get Hammer of Wrath, movement 14. Oh, so it's an assault squad with Hammer of Wrath. And it's their demon. They have a 5-up Volder Trader only. They could have projectiles instead of demon armaments. So it's the little flying guys. It's names now. Furies.
Furies are harpies. Yep.
It's Furies.
Yeah. In Demons, it was Furies.
Because the harpies were the flying Demon Prince equivalent of last edition.
Yeah.
I think. So yeah, it's Demon Furies. They exist. I feel like they should have 2 attack space.
Yeah, at 1 attack base, I might swap them to the projectiles, because then at least I got 18-inch range with 2 shots.
That's what I was thinking.
You're not going to get enough through.
Easy. For 10
and you
points,
can't grow the squad. It's like,
well, that's the other thing. Yeah,
gun.
they're stuck at 10. So if you're stuck at 10, at least give me 20 shots. 10 guys rushing in, essentially 2 attacks each. But your base strength, stuff like that, I don't know. And only weapon skill 4, I don't know if you're going to get enough through, especially with that really bad save. And if I'm charging, that means, you could save your an Overwatch essentially for when I come in, and I'm only on 5 up saves on 1 wound. I'm going to lose half my guys. You want to charge my attack squad? Please do. You won't even make it. You're going to have like 2 guys left, and my attack marines will beat them down.
I don't care them being squishy, but they should get to be bigger squads, and they should have 2 to 3 attacks. They should have 2 attacks base, 3 on the charge, or they should have like Fury, so they get like bonus charge attacks, or just they have Hammer of Wrath, but it's not enough.
No, the Hammer of Wrath, because you're not going to have enough left.
This is the other meh squad for me, by the way. This is the other one where I was like, who cares?
But I love the idea. I love the idea of a squad.
It's a great starting idea.
Demons. Yeah. It just doesn't.
Honestly, it might just be too expensive at 150 points.
The way I see it is, if I'm building this army, I do want a squad of these guys, but I want them with the ranged option. And I want these guys to be able to be 14 inches move, and then shooting 18 inches. So they're mobile, what you might call a light fire base. I do need some other shooting, because if you take your shooting reaction, these guys are, going to collapse. So I want something else that shoots, but I do like that option. The same way as I like our previous option, we can turn a unit into flamers. I do want this army to have some shooting to be able to let the other people get in. But I would never take these guys, I don't think, without the projectiles. Because I don't think they're going to do a thing for you, unfortunately. I just don't think they have the stats. Again, the beginning, they'll be toughness 5, a little bit more survivable. And okay, strength of 5, they'll wound a little bit more. But the 1 attack, I just don't think you're going to do enough with that bad save.
Or like increase them to infernal armaments instead of demon armaments. So they get the brutal and the better fake breaching. They're just missing.
They're missing something.
That one might be a bit much, but if they do that and maybe alter the points, I'd be happy with that.
At 15 points a model, I think that's a reasonable trade.
Yeah.
Because then they actually do something once they connect.
Yes, if they were always strength 4, toughness 4, I agree, but knowing that they're going to essentially start at 5s, I think that covers some of that point spread. But maybe that is what they need. I'm not sure.
Consider this though: Space Marine with the Chainsword will have 2 attacks.
Yeah.
And shred.
Yeah.
For 10 points. Like a despoiler, anyway. The Tactical Marine for 15 points gets a bolter and the Chainsword.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Equivalency wise, yeah.
I think it's a fair trade to say that they're going to be lethal if they hit. As a matter of the positioning game to get them in, which I think is a perfectly, legitimate design point to be at. They're just not at that design point.
Yeah,
exactly.
Your survivability is not great, but if you can get in, you can do a lot to them. So you have to take those tactical thoughts of how to do that. I agree. I think they make some changes. I think they could fit that well, and unfortunately, they just don't quite. But all right, well, that takes us out of fast, puts us to heavy, and I think it's on Dan now. I think he's the top.
You go, because I'm going to take Behemoth.
Okay. All right, so the Greater Runestorm Demon Beast. So 150 points for this guy. He has infernal armaments, so he has the light swing weapons. He's move 8. He's got his weapon skill of 4 with a ballistic skill of 3. He starts at strength, toughness, and wounds all of 5s. He's initiative 3, so kind of bad initiative. 4 attacks, 6 leadership on a 4-up save. He does have a 5-up of his invul. He has Hammer Wrath 3. And you can take 2 more of them for 125 points each.
For 400, it's bring the whole family.
Why do I care?
These are your so first of all, model wise, this is so I thought Forge World still sold these. Apparently they don't. You remember the big chaos spawn that they sold?
Yes.
The greater chaos spawn with a huge that's what this is.
Yeah,
That's
makes sense.
essentially
Yeah.
what this is. I'm unsure, just like you, what the point of this is, because back in the last edition, these guys used to be AP2, right?
Yeah.
And the behemoths were AP2. So the cool thing was you can get like a little squad of AP2 beasts running around with 5 wounds, up to 5 strength 5. Oh, that's pretty dangerous, right?
Well, the infernal armaments. My bad, I just realized that
They're
that's not the
AP3.
armaments. That is AP3, and the brutal,
Brutal
2.
2.
So okay, the weapon is better. My apologies. I was thinking the demon armaments.
Oh, you were thinking they were AP4. No, they are AP3.
No, I'm much happier with it now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in general, I'm much happier with it. The Vortex, pretty good. The Initiative 3 is not too great. But again, remembering in the beginning, they're essentially going to be toughness 6, so they have a decent amount of survivability with their 5 wounds a guy. I like them better there, being the base AP3. I'm okay with them not being AP2 base. That might be a little bit much. I'm still not super sold on them. You do need the better AP. This is a melee army. And even when you shoot, your shooting essentially doesn't really get through armor, so you're mostly melee. So the infernal armaments here is a somewhat cheap way outside of your main characters to get those bonuses, to get those extras. So I do like it, but I don't know. It leaves me feeling very ho-hum.
Yes, and again, this is now we get to gripe number 3, which is across the book. But again, this is one of the things that got removed, a lot of the customization. These guys were a lot more customizable. So were behemoths, and they took that. It was 2 pages of customizations.
Yeah.
For the whole army, but these guys really benefited from it. You can give them a lance, you can give them a strength 10 shot, but it's 1 shot. You could have given them an extra fear, maybe an extra pinning, right? All of that's gone. So now you're just left with the stat block, which I'd rather just take another stat block. Who's better? Shrug, you know?
I mean, the Aetheric Dominion is something that has to be put into play here, because when you think about that Dominion, that might be adding quite a bit to these guys. You could be giving them extra in terms of charges, more survivability, a variety of different pieces. So I think you do have to consider that. That's maybe
Very
where
true.
some extra flavor comes in. But when I look at what they do, even when I think of some of those options, I'm just don't get very excited about it.
I will say, like, if you give them the 5 of Feel No Pain, that's kind of disgusting.
I think that might be one of their better ones. Now, you're having to give it to your whole army, but if I give it to everyone, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Or even the stupid Formless Distortion that gives them either Concussive 1 lands or Reach 1. Right now, they're Initiative 4. But if you're lucky and roll that 5 or 6, now they have Shred. Okay.
Yeah, that one's not bad
I was gonna
either.
say, I kind of like them with the one that gives the +1 to the Hammer of Wrath with Deflagrate.
Yes, since they already have Hammer of Wrath 3.
4.
Yeah. And it does give them a shooting attack as well.
Deflagrate. Yeah, it's not much, but it's something.
Yeah, and like I said, at the beginning, you're toughness 6, so you can survive if people shoot back at you. Or, sorry, it's as reaction, so essentially they have shot at you, I should say.
Yeah, that's the downside. But, Hammer of Wrath 4 is not... You could have worse things.
No, Hammer of Wrath 4 means that I do at least have a chance of getting some wounds down. You're going to swing into me, at least early on, I'm toughness 6 with 5 wounds. I have some survivability. But I think, again, it's that case of this unit's going to get pretty expensive because I don't want to just take 1. 1 doesn't feel like it will live long enough. I need a couple, and then I'm starting to get a little pricey.
And now you're talking at 400 points for the unit of 3. Yeah.
Which is a good amount of wounds. It's a good toughness. AP3 weapons means as long as I'm not... And they have a way to have some AP2.
400 points gets you a Legion type on.
Yes. I can deal with things that are not in Terminator armor quite well. I'm not sure if it is fully needed, but I don't know. When we see the rest of this, maybe it will. All right. Dan wanted to talk about the Behemoth. He was trying to save it.
Oh, yes. So actually, I was... damn, I wanted the Arch-Daemon. Oh, no. Behemoth. So Behemoth's 350, so they're very expensive. Movement 8, weapon skill 4 only. ballistic skill 4, strength 7, toughness 6, 7 wounds, initiative 3, attacks 5, leadership 7, 3 up save. They have Infernal Ornaments, which is the AP3, Brutal 2 on a 6, it's AP2. Or AP3, yeah, AP3, Brutal 2, AP2 on a 6. They have a 4-up invulnerable. They have Imperium Avatar, so again, they don't die instantly to instant death. They only take D3. They have Hammer Wrath 3. They have It Will Not Die 5-up. They're still bulky 7. Same exact points as the Lord, but instead of taking the Sovereign Blade, they take they can take the Behemoth Blade for another 30 points. And the Behemoth Blade, as I scroll down rapidly, is Strength User, AP2, Melee, Brutal 3, Sunder, and can be AP1 on a 6. Which honestly, I'd probably just pay for anyway for 30 points. Going from AP3 to AP2 and Brutal 2 to Brutal 3. I think that's worth the 30 points.
And honestly, the other big thing is the Sunder.
Yes.
You don't have a lot of anti-tank in this. If someone's bringing Land Raiders, I want to be able to reroll. And this guy in the beginning will be Strength 8. So I need it. I need something to get through those bigger things.
And we can also give him oh wait, he can actually take it. Hold on. What's it called again? It's called the it's called
the Meltagun?
The Unmaking. Oh yeah, so he can't actually take the Unmaking.
No.
Interesting.
No, he doesn't actually take it. I like this guy a lot more. He's a lot more expensive, but I like him a lot more.
Yeah, he's a lot more. Yeah, he's just better.
Well, for his points cost, he better be.
Yeah, he better be. But I like him. He's good. He's basically an Imperial Knight. He's the big boy base.
Is the same points as a Sovereign, though.
Yeah, but you're going to take 3 Sovereigns. So then you take another 3 Behemoths. No, I'm just kidding. But
let's go with Dan.
Hey.
Listen, that's Kaiju List 101. No, I like him. He's a stat block, and he's a heavy duty stat block too. 7 wounds, toughness 6.
Yeah, which is the idea. Early he'll be toughness 7, which is big, so he's like a contemptor there. He'll be strength 8 early on, which brutal 3 with strength 8 means that even if I am going against Terminators and I'm not getting the AP2, I'm making you roll 3 saves. You fail any of those, I'm just removing you from the board. So he can do more of that. He is very expensive, but you're going to need something heavy. In this army, you need some heavy stuff.
He's brutal 2. Or brutal 3 AP2, Dave, with the Behemoth Blade.
Okay, the Behemoth Blade. Okay.
Terminators.
So yeah, if you want to spend that extra 30, then you now are carving through everything. Or at least you have a good shot.
Sovereign is strictly better, though. It's killing me.
Absolutely. But it is strictly better, but it is an HQ and therefore more limited. Even the upgrade, because the Sovereign's weapon upgrade is only 10 points. This guy's is 30. I do like him a lot more. I do think, I like the idea of, big chunky models. This is a great way to do that. Yes. And I think his block, although, yes, he is more expensive, I think his stat block looks better for the cost than the last guy's looked for its cost. Costs were different, but not quite as nice.
This is what wanted me. So, fun fact, when I saw this in 1.0, this is what got me to wanting to start the Demon Army, because I actually wanted to start Nurgle and use Galopkin. He's like the perfect Behemoth model for this.
I agree. All right, so we like this guy. And then Steve can talk about the Arch-Daemon.
Me. I get to send it. All right.
I know, right?
So the last of the generic demons. The runes from Arch-Daemon for 500 points gets you movement 8, weapon skill 7. Not very nice, very nice. Blitzing skill 5, strength, toughness, and wounds of 8, initiative and attacks 6, leadership 9, 3-up save. You get a runes from Arch-Daemon with a Behemoth Blade stock. You get these Gargantuan, Aetheric Dominion. He gets the 4-ups invul save, 3-up armor save, so it's decently durable. Eternal Warrior, just straight up. Oh shit.
Yep.
Hammer of Wrath D3, it will not die 5-up, bulky 9. And he's traitor. And you can take up to 3 of the options of Aetheric Conduit, which is expensive as hell here. Yeah. Immaterial Wings, Aetheric Flight, Miasma of Rage, Dark Flame, The Unmaking makes its return, and finally Warp Forged Flesh. which I feel is kind of an auto take.
Yeah, you want this guy to have a 2-up save. And it's only 25 points. It's reasonably cheap. Give him a 2-up.
I love Aetheric Conduit on him.
I think it's too much. I'm not
No, remember, you can make him strength and toughness 10.
1 and 2.
Okay, yeah. Okay, cool, but like, I don't know. It's just a little bit too much. Plus, if he happens to fail, not taking wounds.
Immune to bolters until turn 5.
Yep, pretty much. He's pretty much uses most shit until turn 4 because even his strength is 9.
Grenade him.
No, you cannot.
Nope.
This guy's a problem.
He's a huge problem. I love this dude a lot.
Giving him immaterial wings so he has movement 14 is a big deal.
Yes.
Oh, shit.
And remember, as their Lord of War choice, he can have a different Aetheric Dominion.
Yeah.
So now he's got a 5-up Field of Pain.
That is not a bad option for him. I don't know if he.
That's actually kind of solid.
Yeah.
Either that, or you give him the one that's re-roll the armor saves.
Oh my god, that
re-roll that's
2-up re-rollable.
Yeah, because the strength value is going to be lower than your toughness unless if you are getting your armor save, that is true. Because if you're not, they're hitting you with like last cannons, which you weren't going to get anyway. So
I still want to make a point for the Aetheric Conduit because other than even the pyrokinetic one, but biomancy getting +1 strength, +1 toughness.
He's already at 9s to start with. You don't need 10.
You need 10.
No, you don't.
You need 10s. Yeah, you do. It's a big solid number.
That last cannons move on 5s.
Yeah. You're taking something that is at that point someone brings that I'm just like, all right, cool, good game, I'm good. Unless I'm bringing my own crazy Lord of War that does that, which most of them don't. I'm not even going to bother shooting at the guy. What's the point? I'll never get through him. It just won't be fun. So you better hope you have the material wings because otherwise I'm going to block you down with light stuff all day.
Oh yeah, that's what it is. Or ready for this, and people have already figured this out. You just challenge lock.
Yeah.
So Gargano,
he's not a character.
Oh,
yeah,
he's not.
You can't challenge him.
Not a character. No. Oh,
yep.
That's big. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's big. Okay. Wow. But I like him. I've been trying to fit him into my list. And I really want to take this because I'm trying to play the Diablo model I have. So I'm going to try I'm just trying to figure out what the hell to give him. Because Diablo doesn't have wings, so I like the WYSIWYG, so he doesn't have wings.
You could bring him stock in a 2,000-point game.
That's true.
I could. I actually like Miasma of Rage on him too, just for 25 points, giving him an extra 2 attacks if he charges.
That's big because he is actually only 6 attacks. So again, like his weapon, what he does, the brutal's really nice, but I'm not carving through necessarily tons and tons of models.
My last gripe. Are you ready for this? This is the last gripe I have. There weren't that many. Arch-Demons used to have, so you see these upgrades that they have, right?
Yeah, of course.
Arch-Demons used to have their own separate Lord of War upgrade chart. Now they were expensive as fuck, of course, but they were completely separate from the rest of the Demon Army because they were your Lords of War. These were crazy things. Like you can give them the ability to trade all of their attacks to do 1 attack on every person in melee, right? Or you can divide half your attacks to like you can go to 3 attacks and they're all strength D now, right? Or you could shit out a warp portal. Like you had like I guess it was the same thing here. You had the ability to shit out a warp portal. So you had the ability to like really customize the Lord of War to be like an actual like Lord of War. And it kind of gripes me a lot that the customization for this guy is the same customization you get throughout the entire army. And I don't think it would have taken that much effort to just give this guy a separate table. But again, I didn't write the rules. But that's just my other gripe. It's a non-issue gripe, I guess I could call it. It's a non-issue gripe. It's just something I wish they would have just thought about. But
yeah,
it's a non-issue.
I mean, he's nutty.
Yes,
at the end of the day, he's very expensive, but he's absolutely nuts. So
those are outnumbered by 5 Terminators.
Yep.
For those legions who care.
All right. I assume Dan wants to take Kabanda.
Of course. Of course. What?
Do you have both sets of rules for comparison? Sorry, all
Oh my
three
god!
sets of rules.
Does he have a
All
bound rule?
four
No, we're not
sets of
doing that.
rules?
He has a
No,
bound
there's
form,
only
yes,
two.
but
They actually mentioned that Kabanda, you only use the bound rules. They actually changed the bound rules, by the way. They went
Yes.
back and changed the PDF. So now you only have bound and unbound. That's it.
Yep.
So Kabanda is 575. He's a Lord of War. Better for him to be a Lord of War. He's a character gargantuan unique. That character gargantuan is going to piss me off because again, you can just character lock him. I believe that gargantuan creatures should not be character locked in challenges, but that's a different discussion for a different time. That's fucking stupid. He's got the armaments. He's got Incardine wings, which I'm just going to tell you right now because that's his own thing. It's movement 14. It's a movement 14. So it's wings. Let me see here. He's got the armaments of Kabanda, which have its own little table. In melee, your strength +4, AP2, two-handed, sunder, immaterial blades, AP1. So basically a strength 12 or 13, Jesus Christ. Around 12 or 13 AP2 dude. They got rid of Murderous Strike from him, which kind of hurts. I don't know why I would need it, but sad. He also has his whip, which is 6 inches, strength 6, AP2, which did change. That used to be AP4. Strength 6, AP2, assault 7. Well, not bad. He's got Aetheric Dominion, Heedless Slaughter. Again, he better. He's got a 4-up say. Sorry, I didn't even talk about his stats. He's movement 8, weapon skill 8, strength, ballistic skill 5, strength and toughness 8, wounds 8, initiative 6, attack 7, leadership 10, and a 3+8. Again, I will fucking point out that they could have just given him 8 attacks. I would have taken the 600 points just to give him 8 attacks because it's Korn's number. And oh my God, they did it again. And you'll see why, Dave, in a couple seconds, why it annoys me even more. It's actually kind of funny. So he's got Adamantium Will, 3+. Okay, so he's got to save against Psychic Powers. Eternal Warrior, Eternal Rivalry, which is a special rule, get down. Hammer Wrath, D3. Hatred Sanguinius, it will not die, 5-up. Here we go, Rampage. So if he's outnumbered, which he will always be, because funny enough, he's not bulky at all.
No.
And weirdly enough, the wings don't
the
bulky here.
hell?
He's not bulky, so he's always getting. So here's the fun part, Dave. Look at his Rampage, what it says.
D3+1. Okay.
So he's at 8 attacks anyway. So
they could have just gave him Rampage D3 instead. They're doing that British math to you.
I'm like, what the fuck? They just put this to 8 attacks and just do Rampage D. Who did this? I was so mad when I saw that. And I thought they would change it, but they didn't. He's got Scythe of Hatred, probably one of my favorite rules of all time, which we'll talk about later. He's unbound.
Yeah, this is Kabanda unbounded.
Oh.
This is his unbound form.
Oh, all right, so he doesn't get the strength and toughness increases then. I guess, wait, does he? Does unbound mean you don't get affected by that shit? Because he's still a demon.
No. Unbound, that just means you can't take they have to list it because they'll probably do it for the last 3 because they're named characters, and they have bound and unbound forms.
Yeah, you can't have both the unbound and bound in the same army. Simple as that.
Got it. Okay. So, you know what I was thinking? I was thinking unbound was bound. Jesus Christ.
No.
It's a long night. So, his Warlord Trait is Skullkeeper. Basically, any models with demon unit type and the Aetheric Dominion Heedless Slaughter within 12 inches, not wholly within, this is an Age of Sigmar, within 12 inches, gain Rage 3 special rule. So if they charge, they charge.
Yep.
And you get additional reaction to the movement phase. The wings I already talked about, their wings, 14 inches. Eternal Rivalry, if Sanguinius is in the opposing army, you do have a secondary objective that comes in. It's completely, but if Sanguinius' route is a casualty while fighting a challenge against Kabanda, Kabanda gets 2 victory points, or you get a. And in addition, this is in addition to any Slay the Warlord. However, if Kabanda is removed as a casualty while fighting a challenge against Sanguinius, then you lose 1 victory point. This is a nothing thing. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't hurt me. I like it. It's narrative. Doesn't hurt me.
Yeah.
Well, it does hurt you.
We get it. Yeah, that's fine.
Scythe of Hatred. Oh, so I already talked about the weapon. So this freaking rule is so good. So at the end of the assault phase, after the results of any combat's been worked out and swooping advances consolidated to be completed, Kabanda may make a special Scythe of Hatred attack. To resolve this attack, the controlling player places a Hellstorm template So that's the massive flamer template, 14
Yep.
inches, I think. With the narrow end in contact with Cabana's unbound base. Any unit with the models underneath the template suffer a number of automatic strength 6 AP- hits equal to the number of unsaved wounds caused by melee attacks during the assault phase. And this does not include modifiers determined in one combat. The big thing is the unsaved wounds part. Because he is at the strength that he instant deaths people, right? I had to look this up. Unsaved wounds counts instant death. So let's say he cleaves through. Let's say you run away. He realistically cleaves through, let's say, 6 Terminators who had 2 wounds each. That means that Hellstorm template is shitting out a 14-inch big flamer template. Every unit that gets hit by that takes 12 wounds at strength 6.
Yep.
Which is, so the reason I know this, and for those who watched our battle report when we did Bound Kabanda, I think he killed 5 Heteron Guard. They're all 3 wounds. And he pooped out a Hellstorm template that was 15 wounds. And he tagged, I think, 6 units. So he did, what was it? 15, 30, 60, 90 possible wounds under a Hellstorm template. Excellent. So good. But yeah, that's Kabanda. He's a beat stick. 575 points. He's good.
If you have him, you'll want to take him, and if you take him, you're not going to feel bad.
Yep.
He's going to be very expensive. You have that big enough game, but you won't feel bad.
I have him, and he's painted. The whip keeps breaking. I hate that stupid thing. But it's such a bad connection point. Yeah, love it. He's great.
All right, we got 2 last big boys to talk about here. Who is this guy?
I have him on Forge World. He's ugly as shit. Here, I'll give you the link real quick.
He is the Nurgle one.
Okay, yes. That's what I thought. Yeah, I've seen him before then. Okay.
Oh, you've seen him before? Okay.
Yeah.
He's gross.
So this is Cor'Bax, Utter Blight, Unbound. He does not have a bound form. He's 430 points. For this guy, he's Moose 7, Weapon Skill 7, Ballistic Skill 5. He's Strength 7. Toughness is sitting at an 8 for this boy. He has 9 wounds. Initiative 5 with 5 attacks. He's another 10 leadership, a 4 up save. When we take a look at him, so he's a character, he's monstrous, he's a psyker as well. He has the Putrid Corruption, so he has his 5 up mitigation. He has a 4 up invul save. He has the Imperial Avatar, of course. He has a 3 up Adamantium Will, so he's get some saves versus psychic powers. He also has that Hammer Rats, that D3+1. He's the Herald of Pestilence. He has the Nosum Tide of Flesh, 4 up It Will Not Die. He's, of course, Unbounded Trader, and he has his own special Warlord trait. War Gear we'll get to when he gets to it. So, he can a normal thing of if he's in your army, he can be the Warlord, even though he's not in the primary detachment. If he is, he comes with Lord of Decay. All units that are the demon type and are part of that Putrid Corruption Dominion, within 3 inches of him, can reroll failed damage mitigation rolls from it and feel no pain rolls. So you can reroll the mitigation you get from your domain, and if you have a feel no pain otherwise, you can reroll that because your feel no pain theoretically could be better. In addition, you get an extra reaction in the movement phase. Good, not amazing. I mean, this guy's on a giant base, so getting within 3 isn't tough.
Yeah, I was going to say.
You are going to chunk up with him, but he's pretty big.
And remember, you could take 20-man. This is where you all of a sudden take 20-man lesser demons.
Yes.
You stick like 1 or 2 next to him, don't kill them, and now that 20-man lesser demon unit gets rerollable 5 up saves.
Yeah, for the mitigation. They have an invul save, and then they have a rerollable 5 up. Now you have some survivability. The Nosum Tide of Flesh. He suffers no penalty for moving or charging through difficult terrain. Sure. In addition, when he is destroyed, nearby units suffer Strength 6 AP- hits for each model within 5 inches that is not a demon. Any units that suffer 1 or more hits from this effect make immediate pinning test, as essentially all of his horribleness just washes over you. Once all the hits and pinning tests are done, then he's removed. So he essentially has moved through cover for intents and purposes, and then he blows up like a vehicle. His Noxious Maul, his weapon, it's Strength +1. This guy was strength 7, so base 8, demon extra, so Sin at 9, AP 2, murderous, and murder strike on a 4, his melee weapon. Very good weapon. He's a giant Lord of War. You would hope for a very good weapon. The murder strike helps make up for the fact that he has no brutal. Herald of Pestilence. He is a psyker. He has biomancy, so Dan will want him to get to his like toughness 9 or 10 and all that ridiculousness.
10. Toughness 10.
At no additional cost. So he is purely biomancy. Yeah, he can get to toughness 10 with his 9 wounds.
I don't know what the shooting one is for biomancy. I feel like I should know. I know that that's the buff.
It's a close combat attack, actually.
Oh, so technically he gets an extra attack. Okay.
Yeah, you get I believe it's a strength like 10 weapon.
Oh shit!
But he already has murder strike, and his weapon's already going to be like strength 8 or 9.
But you could use it to gain an attack, because it's not a specialist weapon. So
no. In other words, you can fight with that thing instead. It turns your weapon, if memory serves. It turns your base weapon. It turns you to give you strength 10 attacks.
I think it just gives you an extra weapon, which means you might get an extra attack. Yeah, hold on. I was reading what someone was telling me. Give me a second. That's Pyromancy.
Do this instead.
Biomancer Rage is a melee second power, strength 10, second focus. The other power is done instead of shooting. It can auto increase by +1 second power. You can combine it with another weapon or pistol for +1 attack.
Okay, so that actually is okay. Good. I wasn't sure if you could do that. Okay, with that, yeah. So we can get some extra attacks and all.
So he's actually got 6, 7 plus D3 attack. Oh, okay.
Yeah, with that, yeah, he actually has quite a few attacks. He's murder strike on a 4, so he is carving through people. He's going to be starting at essentially strength 8. And you're sitting at toughness 9 to start with. You can get to that toughness 10 with that biomancy. You can get to the other extras. So, and weapon skill 7. So he's a big Lord of War. He's cheaper than Kabanda. He's doing quite a bit of good for you. He's probably not helping your rest of your army kill as much as Kabanda does, but he's helping your army survive a lot more. So if you're running more of a Nurgle type force, this guy, I think you absolutely want to throw him in. I don't know if we've
also. He's also cheaper than the generic Arch-Daemon.
Yes. Yeah, he's at 430 instead of like 500. He's at a good price. So he's a bit cheaper. You can fit him in a little easier. You can fit in some other pieces. And we've previously talked about various Lords of War and all of that. Here are spots where in this army I absolutely want to take a Lord of War. Not only just for fluff because of what they do and what they can do. Even the fact that he has a very high strength means that he can help me hurt vehicles if I need to, or hurt some of those other targets. So, absolutely love him. That gives Steve the very last person.
Samus.
Samus is here.
Exactly. One of the best books they read when it comes to demons. Literally horrifying.
Mm-hmm.
So, we've got Samus Unbound. 380 points gets you the Demon Prince of the Primordial Annihilator, the End and the Death. Movement 8, Weapon Skill 6, Ballistic Skill 5, Strength 8, Toughness and Wound 7, and Initiative 7.
He's very fast.
Boy. He is fast. 4 attacks, Leadership 10, and a 3-up save. He has the Blades of Samus. He's a monstrous character. He's unique. He is Encroaching Ruin. He's got a 4-up invul, which pairs nice with his 3-up save. He has Imperium Avatar, so makes the 3 wounds instead of dying on instant death. Whispers of Madness, Fleet 2 for +2 on the charge, on top of the 1 for being move 8. So it's effectively a +3 on the charge.
Mm-hmm.
It will not die 5-up. Rage 3, bulky 7, move through cover, which is part of his Dominion, but it's just here for clarity, I guess.
Yeah.
Unbound Trader. He has his own Warlord trait, which I'll get to in a moment. Whispers of Madness. I feel like that's more fun. So Whispers of Madness grants the following benefits. First bullet point. If he's in reserves as Knight on the battlefield, reserves made by an opposing player are modified by -1. It does not stack with other modifiers. Use the highest single modifier instead. So if your enemy's running a reserve strategy. You could nerf it a little bit. That's neat. Kind of reminds me of where's Heresy book? Where's book 2? I think it's book 2.
Book 2.
Yeah, book 2. Way back at the beginning.
Oh yeah.
Then we have the second bullet point. Any model without the demon unit type within 18 inches must reduce its leadership by -2 when making psychic checks. This is cumulative with other effects that reduce leadership for psychic checks. Makes sense. It's getting in your head, driving you crazy. And then finally, while locked in combat, he increases the value of Fear 1 to Fear 2. He's scary.
Here's a fun little thing that I just thought about, because now he's Fear 2. When you get concussed, you take a leadership test, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's stupid, because remember, the Lords of War can be different dominions than the rest of them. You take the dominion that once gave concussive, which normally sucks, right, Steve? But now taking leadership -2 on concussive.
So you want me to throw in 380 points so I have a shot if I roll the right thing on a different domain I can cuss you?
I'm just saying, if you like that domain, Samus is actually not a bad kind of addition to that.
That is like the tiniest amount of help imaginable. You are doing tons of work to maybe concuss someone.
I'm better off teaching a dog to jump through a flaming hoop and just collect money at a circus.
Yeah.
It'll be less effort than getting that line
That's
up.
too much work for not payoff.
Plus, you have to roll a 1 on a D3, which you have absolutely no control over. It just makes the bad slightly less bad when it happens. If you get lucky, we're not worrying about that. We're going to talk about the Blade of Samus, though. We're going to worry about that quite a bit, because it's Strength User AP 2 with Armor Bane, Murder Strike 5 up, and Immaterial Blades AP 1. So if he rolls a 6 to pen, that's terrifying.
Yeah.
You forgot his Warlord trait, by the way.
No, I'm saving it.
Oh, okay.
His Warlord trait is the end and the death. He may be the Warlord, even as a part of the primary detachment or an HQ choice. He replaces the Imperium Avatar rule with Eternal Warrior and has the below Warlord trait, the end and the death. So when he fights in a challenge, successful and vulnerable saves taken against him must be re-rolled. You get extra reaction in the movement phase. So he just goes all in on the character assassination run.
Yeah.
Yep.
I like him. I like him a lot.
I like that he switches. That's new. I like that if he's your Warlord, he actually goes from Imperium Avatar to Eternal Warrior. That's actually kind of cool. That's neat. I don't think I've seen that ever.
No, that's not a normal thing.
Not like Imperial Avatar to Eternal Warrior, obviously, but the idea of hey, if he's your Warlord, you switch something in his special rules. That's kind of neat. Yeah.
I mean, it boils down to he's quite good. He's reasonably cheap for what you get out for Lord of War. For Lord of War, he's actually rather cheap. He doesn't have a lot of attacks, is probably his biggest downside. He's got a nice stat block. He's got a great weapon, but he's not buffing his number of attacks, right? Yeah, he doesn't have rage or anything like that.
He does have rage. He has rage.
He does have rage. My apologies. Thank you. I did say it now. Rage 3. Okay, so no. So on the charge, yes, he is doing good. I missed that in the thing. Because they don't put in alphabetical order, and I hate them for that. Always bugs me. Especially when the first bits are. Okay, so no, I do think he will do a lot of good for you. He's going to absolutely... You probably do challenge out, if you can. You take down whatever character that it is. With all the extra hits that you're going to get through and all of that, at Strength 8, you're probably doubling out a lot of these characters unless they're Eternal Warrior themselves, which means that you're going to get tons of wounds on there. You can run people down and then just go at the next unit. And 7 wounds with a starting toughness of 7 means you can survive. Yeah, this guy's really, really good. All right. So, I believe now that will take us to final thoughts related to these demons. I don't know, Dan, if you want to go first or you want to go last.
I'll go first, just to get it out of the way. I'm actually surprised. So, I don't I don't want to be negative. I also don't want to be super positive. I'm so weirded by this. I gotta let it
You
settle a little
love
bit.
to sit on a fence.
No, because this
comfort
is
for
weird
you.
to me. So I'm exceptionally upset that a lot of the customization is lost.
Yes.
Right? Demons were some of the most ridiculously customizable armies, and you could do a lot of different builds. Right? And it's almost like they dumbed it down, even to like the weapons. They just straight dumbed it down. Here's like 6 units with the same weapon, which I understand why. I understand why it makes it easier to balance. I understand. And then you got to rid of the table for the Arch-Daemon, right? Which again, that should not have been gone. That was kind of easily transferable. If I'm able to do it from 1.0 to 2.0 and it was a pretty balanced ZM game, I'm pretty sure you could have done it here. But besides my minor gripes, right? If not minor, medium gripes, right? I actually kind of like this. So for what little it gives you, it's still a playable army, right? There's not a lot of customization. There's not a lot of movement around. So what Dave likes to say, like when I spam something, right?
Yes.
This
is an army where you can do it because you just don't have the options.
Yeah, you don't have the options. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
that's
taking
okay.
6 units of 10 lesser demons, but like, you know what I mean? But that being said, it's still a playable army. It's not like it's a shit army, right? When we look at Solar Ox and we're like, wow, these is bad, right? This is a playable army. I could take this to an event and have fun. And other than taking like an Arch, people could take Warhound. Has anyone taken a Warhound to an event, Steve, in the recent years? That greatest
Yes.
I don't think. Okay.
Sean's event where you deep struck and destroyed 3 armies with morale checks that wouldn't exist if we had inductile rules at the point.
And they all failed their pinning. That was the best deep strike I've ever
3
seen.
to 4,000 points of troops, all pinned from failed checks.
From 15
a single
custodies.
strike.
From 15 custodies, 8 units pinned. 8 units pinned. And that wasn't even night fighting. That was anyway, side.
Yeah.
Other than taking the Arch-Daemon, which is essentially the Warhound equivalent of taking something like a Warhound or a Porphyrion to heresy, this seems like a fair army. Like, someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but like, yeah, the Demon Behemoth is beefy, but if you got a last cannon squad, you will kill him. You know, sure, the Sovereign is scary, and sure, one dude is going to charge 30 inches, but you could shoot him down. Like lesser demons, they only have 1 wound. You could bolter him down, even if you're wounding him on 5s on turn 1 and 2. It seems like a fair army, and I just got to play it to see if it's balanced or not. But from first glance, there's nothing here where I'm like, other than like the 30-inch charge, there's nothing here where I'm like, oh, this is like, because I come from 40K, so I'm very kind of like, I can kind of sometimes see like, oh, this is going to be a problem. I'm looking at this and I'm like, everything just is playable. I don't see, other than like some of the units, it's a cool army. I'm actually kind of happy with this. Still upset about the lack of customizability, but I'm actually kind of happy. And I still want to take the Arch-Daemon. Right. I'm going to have to fit the Arch-Daemon there because I'm going to paint Diablo. Or sorry, copyright. I have to paint totally not Blizzard Entertainment Diabolos. Yeah, I don't know. I was trying to think of it.
No, that's all right.
Diabololo. That's his new name. But yeah, no. From first glance, I'm not looking at Custodes Meridian Blades here. I'm not looking at Mechanica Myrmidons. This looks like a fun, playable army. That's just my gist of it.
All right. Steve, what do you got?
Right now, I'm trying to do the math on how big an army could be points-wise if you just did max everything. And the HQ slot makes it pretty doable because you have the big boy HQ. That's 1,000 points in HQ. More than 1,000 points in 3 choices there.
To let you know,
and
Steve,
it's another 1,600 in the elite slot. Yep. And
3 sovereigns and 3 behemoths are 2,200 points ish. Like with upgrades and stuff, it's about 2,200, 2,300.
So you could probably squeeze in 2 units of lesser demons to make it a legal list.
Mm-hmm. And some brutes. I literally I made a kaiju list because I was like, how many big boys can I take?
Yes. The answer was yes.
Yeah, the answer was yes. And then I made 120 bloodliner list because I hate playing with my opponent, and I want to take 5 hours to move models.
Yeah. The best Warhammer is the Warhammer I spend moving models forwards.
Oh, God.
So yeah, so the list is different from last edition. I feel like even though we have movement values now to speed things up, at the same time, I don't know, it feels slower in some respects. It might just be like compared to other things or compared to what it used to be. I feel like you lost a lot of mobility options on units.
So
like the typical unit's a little slower than it used to be.
Slight disagree, because last edition, you did not deploy on the battlefield. You deployed out of portals that were in your half of the table, and you could not deep strike out of those portals. So turn one, your brutes came in because they had the ability to come in automatically. But everything else was randomized.
That's true, because they were the vanguard. Yeah.
Yes, and everything else was randomized, and you could not deep strike out of those portals. So technically, you were stuck for a turn. Sure, you got up halfway up the board, but you would have been there anyway if you just deployed there turn one.
That is true.
I was thinking that the same thing, by the way, because I remember the teleportation, or not the portal bump outs. But then I realized I just deploy turn one and move and run up the board, and I'm now where the portals would be.
Yeah, no, that is actually very true.
I thought of it too.
I forgot how like random those games were, because like you might not show up until turn.
That's one of the things I do not
stats.
Miss. Yeah, I do not miss that at all.
It's missing a lot of the range capabilities.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't have them.
I feel
it
like
really doesn't have them.
It's missing some of that cornate industriality. You know what I'm talking about? Whereas, like, you know, like the skull cannons, things like that.
I'm surprised that they don't have those. But this is they lost the customization. There was a ability you could purchase.
I mean, last edition they didn't really have it either, but now you
they did. No, you had the spike cannons. No, you had the spike cannon. Spike cannon was 48 in range, strength +3, AP 2, 2 shots. So if you give it to a behemoth, for example, it'd be 2 shots, strength 10.
Okay.
That's how it was weird. It was like modified like that.
It's missing from the list, though. Like that kind of
they're missing
range
those
support
upgrades.
And there's no possessed. I'm actually kind of upset that there's no possessed.
Oh, that was the other gripe. I forgot about that. You talk about that, Steve, because that one I actually did forget about.
Possessed are really cool. You'd have a unit of either like human equivalents or marine equivalents, just possessed, stumbling around the table like zombies. Those were your units that you would use to kind of hold the line until the demon showed up. And it had a very Doom Eternal kind of vibe. I don't know. It's something that, I mean, I guess you could put 4 zombie guardsmen on a base and call it a demon swarm, but it's not the same. Well, okay, so these guys are having a hard time busting you out of armor. Like, sure, your rhinos are dead, but your land raiders probably don't care about the demon invasion all that much.
No.
If I'm going to be honest. I don't know. I feel like it's going to feel great to play this army in Zone Mortalis, and then once you open it to the big table, you're going to feel a lot of frustration playing the army.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Don't care, still playing. Yeah. I promised if they were shit, I'm still going to play.
Yeah. So the way I see it, one, the list overall is a little bit lackluster, and I think the reason is, like I said, one, they have obvious deficiencies in our current system and the game that we play. One of the parts of this game is vehicles or bigger vehicles and those sort of things, and they struggle with those. They struggle to an extent with anything in terms of range. Their range shots are like, strength 5 as theoretically no AP. Yeah, I know that might be like AP 5, but you're not playing Solar Ox if, we're thinking about normal Marines or Mechanicum or anything like that. You really don't have an AP that's going to do you very much. So they are pretty much a pure assault army, which is okay. It doesn't necessarily fit the feel you might have for all your different sort of demon armies that you might be trying to substitute these guys in for, but so be it. I just think... so if we think of other assault armies, think of, say, Blood Angels for a moment. Blood Angels, their main rules are about assault. Their main special units are about assault, all of that. But they're allowed the other units. You can take las cannons in Blood Angels. You can take melt-to-guns. You can take the other options to flesh out the list. So although you might be more keyed towards a particular thing, you have the way to be able to handle the rest. You can build what we might call sort of an all-comers style list. And I know that's never perfect. There's a bit of rock, paper, scissors. But you can at least attempt it. Here, I think part of what you're going to have, and I know in their part that they said, like, hey, talk to your opponent that you bring in this, because, like, it's not really meant, it's more meant for fun and friendly play. I also think part of that is because if you were, not that you have competitive events, but if you bring it somewhere, there's a lot of matchups or potential matchups that you have that you're just not going to necessarily do very well against, and now so they have a lot of fun. Like, I've played, people bring in, say, Iron Hands style lists with lots of vehicles. Like, this army's going to have no fun against that. I don't know if they have the tools that give them the roundedness that you may want. They are probably, next to no one. They're beating anyone in close combat that you go against. But you need to get there. You need the ways to get there. And to me, that's not necessarily quite as fun. I want to be able to kind of play in all aspects of the game. I don't feel these guys play in all the aspects of the game. So I do think they're rather generic, and I think that's on purpose. I don't think that's necessarily a bad decision. But having lost some of the flavor, this kind of has that feel to me of, when you had the Chaos Codex go from 3.5 to this now, you lose a lot of the flavor for better or worse. So I'm interested to see in the future, especially what updates they do. Are they going to update these guys? Are they going to change them? Is that little bit of magenta actually going to show up? But I think
maybe Panoptica's looking at it.
I'm sure they will. I'm absolutely sure they will. I want to see what they do when they're actually on the board. I want to see what they do against a normal list. I want to see, do they feel oppressed or get oppressive? I'm not sure. I do feel like if you have like a sort of a well-rounded list, if your list can't deal with everything charging you in the face, you might not have fun either. So I'm kind of curious how it fits into the grand scheme of the game. But I'm excited to see that. I'm glad they finally have it. This is a nice way to get people in who don't have 30k style Marine type armies and they just happen to have some demons. Hey, come play. I don't care what sort of demons you have. We'll call them something. Just get them on the board. Let's have some fun. Especially if they like old 40k. Hey, remember back when you used to play demons in 40k, but you had to deep strike all your armies and like 1/3 starts or 2/3 start because maybe you rolled poorly, all that kind of stuff. Well, hey, you got to start on the board now. Just bring your demons. Let's go have fun. Play the edition you used to like.
To the point that you said about charging forward and not being able to handle it, as someone who plays Custodes, I find these guys to be more balanced. Custodes rushing forward with all their AP2 weapons and 2-up save and a 4-up cover save.
Yeah, that's more oppressive. I agree.
Much more oppressive. Yes. This, I feel like, sure, they get to you, but they got a 5-up invulnerable. Well, maybe a 5-up save.
The toughness, and the bigger ones. It's the toughness here that's going to be the big thing.
It is. But
because
like I said,
Custodes, at least, I can always hurt. These guys, I might not always be able to actually even hurt.
When I was playing ZM on Saturday, a lot of these people that I used, funny enough, had very similar rules to what they have actually now in this PDF. Like the Bloodletters I have, the only difference was they were Rendies. They were AP2 on the hit. But it doesn't matter because I was placing against Tack Braids. And it was very back and forth because, you do start to win in the beginning or at least catch them off guard. But then by the end of turn 4, you do get whittled down. Then turn 5 hits and you're like, oh, shit. Like everything is weaker now. So I kind of like it. I want to play it. I'm going to be playing it. So,
well, I mean, you should always just play what you want.
Exactly. Listen, I'm not, when I had, like I said, when we reviewed the mechanic rules, I had a lot of gripes. When we reviewed the Custodes rules, I had a lot of gripes. Solar Auxiliary was just griping non-stop. The gripes I have here is just they lost their customizability. And then there's like one meh unit, like the Harriers. There was one more meh. I forgot what the other meh was. Was it Cavalry? I can't remember.
The other heavy was a little bit meh. There's some that were a little bit meh. Kind of depends.
But even so, it was just like
Cav was kind
They
of
lost customizability, but that's about it. I like them anyway. But yeah, it's just demons.
Of the separate armies that are not Marines that they've come out with, these probably have the best initial feel.
Yes.
What they're going to go from there, who knows? But of the playability, fun factor, all of that, they probably have the best feel to start with.
I agree.
But all right, well, that was quite a bit. So we are going to end up calling it here tonight, especially because I remember that I have some work that I have to do for a little 3-day online class that I have to log in pretty soon for. So we do want to thank everyone who does listen to us. Remember, we put this out in any podcatcher. We also put all this out on YouTube. We're YouTube for stuff like this. We do display it. We do also put out other videos and things like that on YouTube exclusively, some of them because they just fit better. For things, this week I had put out already it ended up being about an hour. I thought it'd be much shorter. It wasn't. But about an hour going through the Darkest Dungeon Kickstarters and the things that Mythic Games have done and all of that. So that's up there if you follow board games or just want to hear about how a company kind of collapsed, then you can always listen to that. I do have an unboxing video for the new MCP that might be out by the time you see this, if not maybe about the day or so after. I do have that coming out very soon. A few other things that we're working on. After this, I'm not sure exactly what we're going to do. We have to have those sort of discussions. There's been some talk. I know some people have been interested in doing some painting streams, so maybe we'll do some of those as well for just more of our open style discussions as well, which we don't do a lot of those anymore. We kind of do focused content, and I would like to be able to do some stuff where we kind of are more just chatting and discussing other things and things about different games or whatever it is in more of a free form. So we might have some more of those as well. If you do enjoy our content, likes, comments, subscribes, all that kind of stuff on YouTube really helps. We actually are now over 800, so we're actually getting close to the important spots. We have quite a bit more listeners. We still have thousands of listeners. We have quite a few people who don't subscribe because I can look at our numbers and see repeat listeners. So we have multiple thousands of repeat listeners, but a lot of them don't subscribe. If you're doing that, it just really helps us out. So we do ask that you do that. If you do enjoy the content enough that we are putting out, we do have a Patreon. It is there. We don't currently lock any content. I would never lock anything primary, but might put small little things back there, but nothing that we would lock full episodes or anything like that. That's never an intention, but we might put some other stuff in there. But we do have that. So if you have the means and you'd like what we do, feel free to take a look at it. Besides that, I don't know what we're covering next. We will discuss, and I don't know, we'll figure out something for next week. Part of it depends whether or not Steve is back to a good schedule, because if he is, then we can maybe finally get to that last Rite of War or something else 30K related that we've been waiting on.
No, it's a meme now at this point.
No, your white scars are a meme. This is actually happening. Unlike those, this will happen. Pictures.
Oh wait, we're recording, ladies and gentlemen. Or is the camera? We have found pictures of the white scars. It has been confirmed.
We haven't found anything.
It is not. No, stop that.
You can say you found things.
Facebook. I posted it on. It's on my face. I was literally browsing through Facebook.
Did you post it on our Facebook? No, that doesn't exist.
Oh my god! I need to.
Yes, do it.
30 images. I'll do it. I found the white scars though. I found the white scars. They looked as ugly as I remember them.
I've seen pictures and videos of Bigfoot, so I mean, he's real, right?
First, you're like, "Yo, Brett, back me up. You painted this."
Oh my god, I wanted to kill him.
Just called him.
I wanted to kill him because Brett is the one who did the commission, and Brett goes, "I don't remember this commission," and I'm like, "You ever feel like you're losing your mind? That was that."
But I mean, sometimes when you feel like that, it's legitimate. I was just like,
Brett, please.
Gaslights as far as the eye can see.
Oh my god, it was so hurtful. I was like, oh god, no.
All right, well, for the episode 100, Dan got his wish. He got his demons.
Yeah,
hopefully we'll get some recordings with them soon, hopefully as well, and actually test them out and all. But all right, well, on behalf of everyone here then at the show, until next week, have some good hobbying and some great gaming.